Hey everyone, we are here, Not Cool in High School. Full table tonight. We have a lot of stuff we want to unpack. We're going to talk what we're into. We got a fucking whole lot of snacks.
Yeah, snack attack.
So just a thing for us when we're doing this. When you're eating, definitely mute your mics because we have a trigger warning where people don't like lip smackings, and it prevents people from watching our show. So we're gonna be very courteous. We did it for Banging Beers, and I literally said the same exact speech to one guy. Yeah, I said the speech to one guy, and he got on the mic, went like, "Sorry, I'm going to do it one time," but he did it on purpose on the mic, and people who I guess have a trigger to that were like, "Fuck it, turn it off." Like they weren't watching it. So we're not gonna
do that.
Yeah, so we want people to listen. We want people to enjoy it. So we're gonna be very cautious of that. Tonight,
conscience.
Yeah. Steve has tonight's topic with Bill Watterson, the creator of Calvin and Hobbes. So we're really excited for that one. That's going to be towards the end of the show. So this is your first time here, and you're here for the topic. That's towards the later half of the show. We're first going to dive into things we're like some news and what we're playing and what we're into. But before we get into any of that. If this is your first time or it's not your first time, hit that like button. It definitely helps us out. And also hit subscribe if this is your first time, or if you've watched before but just never hit the subscribe. It takes 2 seconds. Make an account. It helps us.
Do it.
Ring
the bell.
Yeah, and hit the bell if you want to.
If we did well, ring the bell. Long John Silver's.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I always ring it like a
If I ever heard someone say that in a video, I'm like, I'm unsubscribed. If we did well, ring the bell. Ignore Ben for saying that.
Ben worked at Long John's for years.
Yeah. And then also, if you're listening to this on audio only, whatever platform you're listening on, actually, so I did find a way to look at iTunes. Like, we have a bunch of pretty decent reviews on there. People are actually leaving reviews on. I just don't use Apple, so I don't see the reviews. But people who did leave reviews, you can leave more. That's awesome. Another thing we're trying to push heavy is Facebook reviews. So if you've ever been on any of our shows, or you've been a guest, or you like the show, or you want to give us feedback, give us a review on Facebook.
Yeah.
Definitely with the other shows, with interviews and Banging Beers, we're going to try to get more of the people that we've had on the show to leave a review. Just like, hey, how did the show? Were we fun? What was your experience? Because then more people are probably going to book us to do stuff.
Yeah.
Ryan Vox.
Did Ben make you laugh?
Did Ben make you laugh? Did he, like the old school interviews would be like, did Ben bring you beef jerky? That was Ben's gimmick. That was the gimmick.
I love that.
Beef jerky Ben. That's old school episode.
That was
there.
top round steak. Yeah. Top round steak that I brought for beef jerky. It was fucking amazing.
For like Tornado Tag, Ryan Vox said like TTP is a really good podcast and they're doing great things in the local wrestling scene. Recently. Yeah, so definitely help us out on Facebook reviews and go follow us over on Facebook.
Yeah.
And invite your friends. If you listen, everyone has friends who are into nerdy stuff. Hit us up.
It's way cooler than it was when we were in high school.
Yeah. It's way exactly. That's the whole premise. And also, what we're doing for the Facebook is if you want to be a part of the team, I obviously can't get you in a microphone spot and get you on the show. That aspect.
But some people don't want that.
But if you want to help our page and help find articles and you want to kind of put the articles up or kind of maybe write a little, hey, just read this article, check this out, and then link stuff and help the page grow. We're looking for people to do that. If you want to become an editor on the page, if you want to review video games and movies without spoilers, you can literally make it your own. If you want to make them videos and upload them to just the Facebook and kind of be that guy, we're looking to expand our show's internal network, So if this is something you want to do and you want to be a part of us without being on the podcast, you can definitely help us on the Facebook aspect of things, and I'll try to carry the best I can to carry your articles over to Twitter and stuff as well. But yeah, so definitely hit us up with that. And if you like the show and want to support, we do have links below that you can buy merch and get really cool stuff.
You got to point down and have that
down
thing.
here. Yeah, down here.
There's no hyperlink or whatever.
Yeah, well, there's a link. All the links are in the description below. Unless you're listening to audio, those links don't work.
Yeah, and even if you find like a video game shop or even like a comic book shop that's well worth looking over, definitely hit us up on that and be like, hey guys, take a look.
Or something.
Yeah.
And possibly, we were just kind of talking before the camera, we may have our first on-location thing for this show. We might go over to Alchemist Cove in Schuylkill Haven, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So we might have
you
our
got
first...
the name right.
Did I?
First try, yeah.
I usually fuck stuff like that.
Town and all, you got it.
That's kind of a hard name.
Alchemist Cove?
It's kind of hard. I mean, people, what's an alchemist?
I'm a fucking nerd, bro. I played World of Warcraft once or twice. That's about the limit.
Now he's fucking
I don't know. Was there an
savvy,
alchemy
oh
skill in
boy.
that? I don't think there was.
I can't wait till we get invited to Villains and Victors.
Yes.
Or like Midtown Comics.
Villains and Victors. I think it's empty right now, actually.
Let's bring it back.
I didn't know that reference.
It was an awesome comic book shop in the 90s in Pottsville.
Yeah.
There was a wooden gambit that was outside the door that was the open sign. It was like life-size wooden gambit. It was
so when he would
awesome.
open, he put a gambit outside. That's how you know he was open.
Yep.
I wonder if he still has it.
I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe.
it'd be so
His name
awesome
was
to
Bill.
have.
I don't know what happened to him. I would love to have that.
How do
The
you
inside was all painted too. Now they probably go fuck this shit and painted
The
white.
toys in that place were amazing.
Really?
I think for
Amazing.
some reason I went to that place when I was younger. I don't know.
Probably.
It's very possible.
It closed in like 98, 99.
I'm actually
maybe 2000.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I have a good bit here.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Heidi comes home one day and there's a giant fucking wooden gamut in the kitchen.
That'd be so awesome.
Now
be
open.
so awesome.
New comics
Can
inside.
you do me a favor? Can you fix that?
Sure.
That's bothering me.
Is it on?
We're showing off
camera?
we're letting them in, Ben. They're seeing the kitchen wall. We're fucking this whole Joe Rogan studio thing is
The back of
falling
Ben.
out. It's
The
falling
back
out
of
the
Ben's
window.
shirt says like "fuck everyone" or something.
I hate God.
Ben's shirt did say that. I would lose my mind.
What?
Forget it.
What the heck, God?
Better if you don't know.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
You're cool. You're cool.
Yeah, so another cool thing is that we definitely the t-shirts have been fucking picking up for us. Like something super small is us taking a picture of our t-shirts and posting them and tagging the company that made it has been getting us some pretty cool stuff. So there's a page that featured Andy's shirt. Fans of X-Men comic
X-Men,
shirts.
That's awesome.
Fan page.
Yeah.
I forget. It's on
A
Instagram.
lot of different cool things like that are picking up. Our topic for Red Sonja got us a lot of cool reviews and people enjoyed it. So we hope to keep that going. Next week's topic's going to be Howard Stern.
I know.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that
Oh,
one. I'm
boy.
a huge
Baba
Howard Stern
Booey.
fan. Yeah. Baba booey, Howard Stern's penis.
That's just penis. I like when they're golfing. That's the best thing. All right, he's gonna golf. Here he goes with the swing. Baba Booey.
They're actually not like they get in trouble for doing that.
I
now.
know it's so good because it got so popular.
Golf
is so stupid.
So this one is going to be a news topic that may be a little old, but I've been sitting on it for when Steve came back.
Oh,
So
you guys named Steve are dumb.
so we there's a few of us at the table here that are very excited for the new Animal Crossing.
Yeah, man.
And maybe about 2.5 years ago, the Direct came out, but it's just been that long since we've sat down and talked about it. As Ben hums, thanks for that. It's not
I
distracting.
always think
music.
Animal Crossing. I always think the first one and the music playing in the background.
First one was GameCube, right?
Yeah.
So for people who maybe
Sorry.
did not pick up Animal Crossing's one or the DS one, what exactly is Animal Crossing and why should someone jump into this universe?
Happiness and joy.
Yeah, I think the best way to sum it up, it's a sim, but
You live your life
yeah,
It's a
and
slice
pay your
of life.
mortgage.
but it's not like The Sims, like I
No.
I don't.
I think it would be more like a slice of life game where it's just like no complication.
life.
It's like no complications. Like
Yeah.
you can do whatever. You can fish. You can dig for treasure. You can talk to the people. You can customize
So
your own
it's close
stuff.
to Harvest Moon, but not solely a farmer.
Not so demanding.
Yeah.
It's a little more freewheeling, and it caters to people with OCD tendencies. Like if you don't have to, but if you don't have any weeds, if you pull them regularly, you're rewarded for that. There's nothing negative if you don't pull your weeds, but
that's the worst thing in the game is if you walk away for too long, you have to pull a shit ton of weeds.
the game wants you to play at least a half hour every day. It definitely it's not demanding you to do that, but it wants you to do that. It wants you to come back, say hi to everybody once a day, check your mail, almost, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like you would in real life, and
Kills a lot of time, pretty much.
it can kill too much time. It's possible.
I mean, this is one of those games that you can go on and read stories where people have literally played their original copy for years.
Yeah.
Played for years.
Mark and I played the original Animal Crossing on GameCube for years. Over multiple apartments. I moved. and Mark would just come over, and
systems would grow, and the GameCube became almost obsolete.
Oh yeah, no, we played it well into that.
Yeah.
Didn't you just have it on like a couple months ago? And we went back in and like de-weeded the town, and
we did
tons of weeds everywhere.
Weeds everywhere.
It's hard.
It's like a fucking jungle.
We cleaned it up for no purpose either. Like we haven't played since. It is definitely overgrown. No, but you will be on the new one.
The new one will have multiplayer.
The new one is 4-player at one time on the same screen.
Oh, that's
which
cool.
I'm excited to see how that's all gonna flesh out.
That is gonna be pretty interesting.
And then you can play online with friends. Like they can join your town.
Yep.
I wonder if I always wanted a situation where, like, say. I know you could do this with PC with Minecraft. I don't know if the console versions ever got this good where you could actually like create like a server.
Yes.
And be like, hey, this is me, Mark, and Steve's town. And if Andy buys it, fuck you, Ben. What the fuck? You're not in our town. Or like,
you don't have a Switch. You can't be.
Yeah, you don't have a Switch.
Yeah, I know.
So you're not in our town. But we can like. Not like I don't have to be on for us to progress our town. Like you can log in.
For sure.
I hope that becomes a thing soon.
I think that, I mean, with knowing how Nintendo is and how past Animal Crossings have been, I'm sure that if Andy is not online, I'm not going to be able to access his town.
Yeah,
you know
I don't
mean?
think that's
it's going to be a permission kind of thing.
That's a pipeline for me. Pipeline dream.
But at the same time, like. Just again, just what I know, that first one that Mark and I played together, like we lived in the same town. We had separate houses in the same town, so I would play for a little bit. I'd do whatever, like fishing, do some bug catching, make a couple shirts. I'd log off, pass the controller to Mark. He would get on, and we could like if I got 30,000 bells, that's the currency. If I had 30,000 bells and I didn't need it, I would just mail it to Mark. He logs on. He receives the money, and then he can go to my house and do whatever and continue, you know what I mean? Whatever it was. If we had a common goal.
Yeah.
It's easy to achieve, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
And now with this new one, you don't have to...
Well, I wouldn't have to log off,
out and
right?
stuff. You guys can play together, which is really, really cool. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So what are some other things besides multiplayer that we can look forward to in the new one?
I think that something that's really important is that people are looking at the characters, because there are I don't want to say like the characters don't have like extreme depth, but they do have little personalities.
Yeah.
Some of the personalities are reoccurring. So if you take that certain personality and put it on a especially cute face, people love the character. So there was a lot of talk about what characters are new, what characters will be reoccurring, who's coming back, who's not, who possibly died.
I heard about that.
Dum.
I heard it's a toss-up between two.
It could be a few. They're speculating. So in the Nintendo Direct, there's a really short scene where a guy, the villager, that's your character, the villager's walking over a hill towards the camera, and underneath a tree is a tombstone, which is kind of dark for Animal Crossing. And so people, of course, start talking immediately. The old mayor...
there is a ghost character in the game.
There was a ghost in the first one for GameCube, yes. So I'm saying the first one, but there was actually a 64 one in Japan, but we never got it.
And there's a DS one as well.
That came after the GameCube one, yeah.
So
and there's a Wii one.
Some people are thinking maybe the tombstone is not a dead character, but it may be the tombstone of the ghost. Yeah.
The ghost's only purpose in the GameCube one was he would pull all your weeds for you. He would randomly show up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Real time is a thing in Animal Crossing. Mm-hmm. So when you're playing at 6 o'clock at home, it's 6 o'clock in Animal Crossing. And if you need it to be 8 o'clock for something to happen, you have to go back at 8 o'clock.
Oh.
Real time is a thing.
Cool.
And the seasons and weather for the most part.
I think what they said too in this one is going to be kind of like the other games where if you're at nighttime and you're doing nighttime exploration, it can make your game harder. Like there may be stuff out in the woods or in the darkness that can affect you. Yeah,
that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Is right. What about Mr. Rossetti?
What about him?
He's a great guy.
My kids hate him.
I remember
they don't know how to save their game.
Yeah, I remember like when you reset the game, basically he would be like having a shit fit. Why did you reset the game, you son of a bitch?
Without the words, yeah. Well, if you don't save, you just turn off your game, this mole comes out of the ground and scolds you. And it's like 20 minutes. It's so annoying. It's kind of genius. They want you to save the game. They don't want you to cheat.
Why don't they have an autosave?
because it's your responsibility to make sure that you're saving.
I hope the new one has autosave.
So this
And
dude,
it's the mole's gravestone. Autosave killed Mr. Mole.
he would legitimately yell at you for like 20 minutes. So it's so annoying. Like you're just like, you're not even paying attention. You're like just hitting A to like get through it. And he's like, I asked you a question. Like, and you're like, well, I'm sorry. You know, you legitimately weren't listening. And then you have to go back through it. It's so annoying. My kids hate him. I save my game. I don't have to see him. So
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for that.
so am I. Not that part of it, but yeah.
Tons of customization, online multiplayer. It's going to have a phone app where you can do instant interactive between your game and the phone. And then, so that comes out mid next month. Or is it this month? No, next month.
I want to say it's 2 weeks. 2
I
weeks
think it's
on a
real soon.
Friday.
What's it called? Just Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing
New Horizons.
New Horizons. And you were on a island this
Yes.
time. Yeah.
You start in a tent.
We actually didn't do it for this episode, but we will do it for the next one. We want to start doing the first episode of the month. Is
March 20th.
March 20th. Okay. So we'll do it for next episode, but we want to do a full breakdown of what's new, what's coming out, what's going to be in theaters, Netflix, coming to Netflix, coming to streaming service. So we're going to, maybe not this next week, but the week after when it's a full table of us again, maybe we'll all split it up. Like Ben takes movies, you take streaming devices, you take comic books, you take video games, and we'll just like, what's new this month to look out for. So we'll be 2 weeks behind on it, but we will make that our monthly thing now.
Sweet.
So you guys can know if you're someone who listens to every week, you'd be like, oh, I wonder what's coming out next week, and we'll definitely have you covered with that.
Yeah.
They call it a social simulation game.
Yes,
That's accurate.
I've never played any of them.
I actually never did either.
Just get this one. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I've never played them either. It was a game that my mom played, and she didn't want me to fuck up her game, so I had to watch her play.
Which one did she play?
The one for the GameCube.
The GameCube one.
I believe so, yeah.
I wanted my own memory card.
And I didn't own a GameCube. Like, my mom bought a GameCube for her and my brother, and I never physically owned a GameCube. That was a system that passed me. So once I had, like, an Xbox 360 and an Xbox.
Do you have one now?
I do now, yeah. I went and bought one. But that was a game. That was a system that I would go to a friend's house and play. Like, I didn't have my own GameCube. So it wasn't a system that I dove into and had a lot of experience with.
I don't want to shine light on your mom, but you could have had a house in the village. It wouldn't have hurt nothing.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom. So over the week, we had a creator of a famous code pass away.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Konami code, yeah.
Ben actually had one of Ben's gifts for the show when we first started. It was I know I got one, you got one. And then I don't know who else has one.
I think there was 4 or 5 of them.
Did Sarah get one?
Sarah did not get one.
Oh yeah, you didn't. You got one for everyone but Sarah
because there was only like 4 people. And
Nikolai got.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ben got a gift for everybody because he likes glassware, but it's a beer stem glass. We still I think Andy's
Konami code. Yeah,
Andy's and Ben's are still here. It's a gift Ben bought. We use them for the show, so we may bust them out one week. But it's a Teco glass and it has the Konami code on it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
What was the significance of the Konami code, Ben?
Jimmy Jacobs' finishing move.
It was for Contra. Gave you 9 lives and so many continues.
Nope.
What?
30 lives.
30 lives. I thought it was 9.
Nope.
Or all right.
Way to go, Ben.
Tell him,
Yeah,
Andy,
I know.
it's 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And how did people find out about this code?
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
I don't really know.
I'll pass it to Andy.
I don't know either, but it does work for the Ninja Turtle Game Boy game.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's
any game made by Konami. I think there was like another
there was other systems that would use it as it became like a reference.
Yeah.
Game. Like people would do it to pay homage because it was like one of the first cheat codes in a game.
I'm sure
right?
like a magazine had to release it because you would never figure that out ever.
Yeah. Maybe that would be a cool topic. The history of the Konami code. And who all who all referenced it and stuff.
R1, R2, L1, R2, left down, right up, left down, right up.
What's that?
It was one of the ammo codes for Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, really?
Oh my god, I don't remember any of those.
PlayStation.
I remember every single person who had a Grand Theft Auto. Like if you went back and opened up their game, there's a piece of paper
Yeah,
with
with
all
the
of them. Yeah.
Abacab was the Genesis Mortal Kombat blood code, ABBAC.
Yes, it was.
And then Dullard was the Super Nintendo one, down, up, left, left, A, right, down.
Nice.
My dad would be in the other room screaming, "Tony!" die. And I'd be like, what did I do? Get here quick. And I'd run in. He goes, the cop's drawing me. Put the cop code in. I was like, it's written down. My dad did not play many video games, but he loved he loves I call them this Grand Theft Auto style games, like the Godfather 1 and 2 for the GameCubes, the Scarface game, Grand Theft Auto. The only one he's never played, and I'm really trying to get him to get into it, like buy a system for it, and just because he has an apartment up in New York and doesn't really do anything else but stay at his apartment. I want him to get the new Red Dead Redemption.
Sure.
Because I think you'd have a blast with it. But he's like, I don't want to fucking ride horseback. I'm like, you think that until you start playing.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. And then obviously when the new Grand Theft Auto comes out, I said, you'll already have the new system. I said, you can get a used Xbox One now for nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, $100.
I don't remember what it was all in the deal, but if you really want to follow another cool YouTube page, it's RGT85. He's a really cool dude, and he focuses. He does do other video game news, but he's very much into just Switch only. So like he had a really cool video that we posted to the page of deals that were going on in game on the GameCube.
Switch.
Yacht Club published Cyber Shadow is coming this fall and will support Shovel Knight Amiibo.
Oh,
that was you.
Amiibo?
That was me again.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm
so shocked.
Sometimes.
We'll move on from that. Ben doesn't know his own story. This weekend.
Oh, it was actually a really cool game that's kind of like Ninja Gaiden style, but with Nintendo graphics.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds cool.
If you ever played like a yacht game like the Shovel Knight series, it's very similar to that, but just with ninjas. It's
Shovel Knight's hard.
It's well polished for how it looks too.
I never played Shovel Knight. I really, really want to. I want to get it. It's kind of like Mega Man, right?
Yeah, a little bit when you have your shovel, you get different shovels.
It's
it is hard though.
It kind of combines
Mario World 3.
It kind of combines a little bit of like it has like a little bit of a Castlevania feel to it, then too like with some platforming and like DuckTales with like Scrooge McDuck. You can use your shovel to like bounce up on certain platforms.
That's Mark's business right there.
Yeah, so
First game
it's a very fun game. It's a very cool original
DuckTales.
game to definitely get into. I think I have a Wii U version of it then too, the physical. I was playing it. It's pretty wild.
Did you buy the remastered version of DuckTales?
No.
I did.
I have that. And I have.
I didn't
that
play
on-
it actually.
I have it on PC. It's good.
You
I
can
beat
get a
it in an
bundle.
hour, but it was
You
good.
can get a bundle right now for the Switch where it's DuckTales,
Chip and Dale 1 and 2, and Tailspin.
Tailspin, yeah.
Nice.
Well, it's well worth it. It's like
Actually,
$14.99.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chip and Dale's a fun game.
None of those games are bad, actually.
Yeah, I never played Tailspin.
And then they come out with a Disney one where it's Aladdin, Lion King.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It might just be those two.
I think there's one more.
Aladdin was so good.
I think it's only two, Lion King and
Okay.
Aladdin.
Yeah.
Only those two.
This weekend, if you guys are looking for something to do, we'll actually be for Banging Beers on location at McNiff's in Monty City. We're going to be doing a full Irish beer review starting at 3 o'clock. So if you guys want to come hang out, try some Irish beers, get some really good food, and hang out in a bar with the podcast, we will be there recording. You can come hang out with us, and then we'll be leaving there probably around 5:30, 6 o'clock, because immediately after that, me and Heidi, I'm not sure if anyone else is coming with us, but we're going to see Clue on stage at the Majestic Theater in Pottsville.
How exciting.
Got an opportunity to actually set up the podcast on the stage, which is really fun. Everyone there is super cool, and I think it's definitely something that a lot of people in the area don't know about, the Majestic Theater.
Isn't that place beautiful?
It's fantastic.
Yeah, the pictures inside look really nice.
It's beautiful.
It's a shame it's downtown Pottsville. You know?
Yeah.
It's always been there. It's been there longer than downtown Pottsville has been downtown Pottsville,
ain't that something?
unfortunately. Yeah.
The last time I was in there, it was the farmer's market when I was a
Oh,
child.
wow.
So that's how I remember
Well,
it.
the original theater used to be across the street.
Oh, I thought that was the original
I thought that was
theater.
no.
That was the meat market, actually, is where the theater is now.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
So across the street, I believe where either Heaven and Earth or the bakery is,
Maybe
was
both,
the
yeah.
theater.
Huh.
And then they moved the theater across the street to
Well,
where it is
do
now.
you know where that parking garage is? That was a theater too.
I know that.
Then maybe that was a theater, and then they tore it
Yeah,
down.
I think that was yeah. So I don't know if that was the Majestic, the Hollywood, and the Hippodrome apparently, which was on Back Street.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But so if you want to go see, if you're a fan of the movie Clue and you want to see it on stage and you want to support local arts, go check out Majestic Theater this weekend.
Does it have a price?
Yep, $15 tickets. Friday, March 6th from 7 to 9. Saturday, March 7th, 7 to 9. And Sunday, 2 to 4. So there are 3 shows you can go check out. The cast is really pumped about it. They think it's one of their funniest productions they put on in a long time. And it's definitely something to support.
Support your local arts, man.
Support your local arts. And I'm so sick of hearing people saying there's never things to do in our area. There's
Bullshit.
There's a shit ton of things to do in our area.
Absolutely.
You just got to
That's
go
what
support
drunks
them.
say.
Yeah.
They want to get laid.
Exactly. And the show ends.
true.
The show is literally done by 9 o'clock. So if you're really hard
2
up for a
hours.
beer,
Yeah, it ain't bad.
you can fucking go right across the street to the Crimson House and get a beer after the show,
Or
or go have a couple beers before the show and have a real good time.
Yeah. Or buy beer and put it in your house and then go home and get drunk.
Yeah. Exactly. So go check out Clue this weekend. We did do a full interview with them, so you can listen to the audio with that, or you can go watch the video. So definitely check that out.
I always liked that movie back in the day.
Yeah.
Flu movie.
That's a fucking fantastic movie.
With what's his name? What's that guy's name?
Tim
Tim
Curry.
Tim Curry, yeah.
Genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, he suffered a stroke and stuff too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
That would be another cool topic.
We should do a Tim Curry episode. I was just
100%.
thinking that.
No, he meant strokes.
Oh, okay, we can go that route.
Our boys at Murder Dude are back. They just released their new episode about JFK. So go over to Murder My Dude podcast on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere you can find that. Just type in Murder My Dude, or go to projecthumanoid.com and check out their new podcast.
Have you listened to that episode? I have not, but do they do a Jesse Ventura impersonation about saying it's an inside job?
No, they did not do a Jesse Ventura impersonation, but they did talk of every aspect to it, like every theory.
Yeah.
They break down every side of it. It's pretty cool. I liked it. I think they do a good job. On the 27th, Pokemon turned 24 years old.
Wow.
How about
Yeah, I posted that as well.
Yeah, I was gonna send it to you, but last time I did that, you didn't even swing your bat. You just watched the ball go right over the plate. You're just like, oh, that was a pitch. Yeah, the game, Shovel Knight, and also Pokemon news. Sword and Shield's new mythical Pokemon, Zadaru. It's a giant monkey. Has been released.
People are pronouncing it
I want
Zarude.
to been released. Like, how do you get it?
Darude.
It looks like Zaruda.
Zaruda. It's Zarude.
Zarude?
Zarude. That's how I look at it. Zarude.
Zarude.
Yeah, they're
I don't know.
doing it like,
I have to see one.
and people are putting in references in the comments like Darude for Sandstorm. It's like, I hope it learns Sandstorm. That's
Yeah.
a.
It's going to be, I
house
think when they
music
do the new
reference.
DLC, he will be the mythical Pokemon you get
get
in
it.
the DLC.
Oh, I thought it was available now, though. Is that what it says?
No,
I don't know, I-
Sword and Shield's new mythical Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he's in the game somewhere. I don't know. I haven't really
And
turned mine on.
everyone's getting a free update, so someone can play the new game and then trade you a new Pokemon. You can get it
Yeah,
without getting the DLC.
Yep.
I'm like, that's
Wow.
kind of cool.
and Mewtwo is now spawning in max raids, and it's
Oh, wow.
not easy. So you have a chance to catch Mewtwo in the game. So the raids are definitely kicking up. You're like, what? Do you,
I love Mewtwo.
yeah.
I just have not played that game really. Like I feel like I don't have any time.
Yeah.
And speaking of
Wow,
which, Pokemon the first movie came out on Netflix.
Yeah.
The remake.
Yeah.
Now here's
Oh,
my
really?
question:
Oh.
Did anyone
Yeah.
did anyone watch it yet?
I did
I watched
not.
the trailer.
I didn't know it was out.
Is it the exact same voice actors just redubbed? Like, is it the same audio from the first movie, or did they go through and redo all the new audio with the anime?
I think everything's redone.
But it's a shot-for-shot remake of the original.
That I don't know.
I think they try to make it like at that aspect, but certain things are changed or altered.
But it's still this legit story. Like,
essentially the same thing.
they don't add anything
from
to the
what
story
I
or-
from what I hear. I
Yeah.
really wanted to watch that.
I'd be interested to see if they revoice everything, or if it's still the same.
You think they would save money, just take the voices over? I'm sure they have a master of quality one they can use.
Yeah.
Be interesting. I have not seen it yet. Xbox Series X just came out with a thing where it will quick resume a game even after a full restore of the system.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fucking
About
nuts.
time.
That's fucking nuts.
I'd like to go through the comments and see if anyone said anything negative about
Oh,
that.
100%
Like,
there.
what would you say negative about that? I don't like that.
That's so useless.
I want my game to lose its save.
Here's every PlayStation fan. Fucking stupid. Fucking stupid.
Like, what?
And then they're like, PlayStation announces you can reboot a
No,
game.
it's a
and they're like,
genius.
fucking amazing.
Genius.
We did it. They're like, Sony PlayStation fans remind me of iPhone fans, where iPhone's like, we have fucking this feature, and Androids are like, bro, we've had that like 8 phones ago. Like, yeah, they're like you shit on our phones and say your phones are superior, but we've been doing this shit for years.
Then people that buy the new phone, it's like it's not that much different than the last one.
No,
like, why do
they
you
don't
pay
change
that
really
much?
is.
Yeah.
I was just looking. Listen, I'm not. Here's a shocker.
I
for
have a
everyone.
7. That's where I'm at.
I buy Walmart phones for like $100. I was shopping for phones the other day, and I was aghast. I don't even know like what I was looking at. Like they were like Samsung S20 or what. I don't even know.
That's the new daddy.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
They're like $1,200.
Yeah. This is a pretty expensive phone.
Who?
No, that's through the
who
plan.
does-
No,
how do
that's
you- how
through
do
the
you do that?
plan.
I do.
That
I do a
now.
lease. I lease it pretty much. Like,
Oh my god!
I pay.
What if you broke it?
You have a replacement. Like you get a replacement, but like you pay insurance on it. But
Yeah, they're
I literally just it
crazy
adds to
expensive.
my bill. Like it just adds $30
Yeah.
to my bill, and in 2 years it's paid off. I can't fucking.
I suppose
outright-
that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
Try and buy it outright. Oh my god.
That's crazy. I didn't know phones were that expensive. My jaw dropped.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking out of control.
Fucking nutty.
Another cool thing that happened over the weekend is what we're going to start doing is when people buy merch from us, definitely take a picture of you with your brand new merch and send us a picture to it. We want to put it on the page. We want to support, like, show that you guys are supporting us. So yeah, we had Jen who bought the brand new Banging Beers Hub shirt. She said, I bought a Banging Beers hoodie, and I said, did you buy the Beer Hub? She goes, sure did. And I was like, yeah, we know you're cool. If you're buying a Pornhub spin-off, we know you're
It's a nice sweatshirt.
Yeah, dude, the gray looks so good.
I want to reiterate for
It
anyone
does.
who hasn't watched that episode where I seethe over my beautiful Not Cool in High School hoodie. It's so comfortable.
Their
It's
hoodies
such a
are
nice
really
hoodie.
nice, yeah.
Such a nice hoodie.
And they're $25 a hoodie now.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so sorry.
How do you do it?
I don't. I don't make anything on it. I'm just trying. I just want people to have it.
It's a beautiful hoodie.
And then when I had Noah sit in on an interview with Handguns, Noah's a really big fan of the show as well, and he supports local music. He's a younger kid. He wants to help out with the show, but I have a really strict 18 and over policy. But he's like, I was like, you know what? I want to hook this kid up with something. Like he's going through some stuff, getting picked on in school, and just having a real tough time. But I gave him my only shirt I have left of things that were not cool in high school.
Snap.
And there's not many people on the planet who own that shirt. And it's if you have it, you have it. If you don't have it, it doesn't exist anymore.
That's awesome.
Because we changed the name of the show. It used to be things that were not cool in high school, and then we changed it to not cool in high
Was
school.
he the one that made that new logo? Who made that?
Yeah, he made a little fan logo. Yep, that was him. Yeah, I don't know if we'll use it for a shirt, but I kind of put it
cool.
on the page.
Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah, that would be-
spiral.
yeah.
Little spiral
I like
Riddler.
it.
The thing is, I
colors.
looked at it, I was like, not in cool podcast? And I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
not cool
okay.
in high school. Yeah.
It reminds me of something from like Zombies Ate My Neighbor with the startup screen with
Yeah, how it's
Yeah.
like,
that's how it reminds me of. I'm like, I hear the music.
And
playing.
while we're plugging merch and getting that out of the way,
yeah.
Andy, you got some new stuff.
Yeah.
The
pretty
new
sweet.
the new blue and gold shirt, which
Yeah.
is you have one now where it's like a cartoon, like a more of a cartoony version of the shirt. and
Yeah,
it's a comic book.
this one's done by Alex Sanchez, who is currently doing the Pandemica comic at IDW. So we met him at Con a couple years ago. I think 2014 or
So
something.
the blue and gold shirt is a legit IMD or
Well, the artist, the
yeah, the art-
IDW.
IDW.
I don't know what it stands for. I think
Yeah.
something DreamWorks or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have to bring the comic and show you. So, and I'm actually sending out a shirt to Alex tomorrow because he did that for free.
Did he?
Yeah. So,
What a fucking
'cause we
nice-
always
That's
talk to
awesome.
him and stuff at the con and everything. We got
So the shirt,
commissions from
the
him.
shirt.
It's
If
available,
you're,
yeah, in faded blue,
I still want one.
yellow,
I bought the blue.
and heather black.
Yeah,
which
the
is
blue.
kind of like a gray.
Man.
They all look great with his art style.
The blue kind of has that, like, it looks like it's an old worn in
Yeah,
shirt.
that's the one I
look.
kept.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. But there's a lot of cool things on the shirt that if you're not paying attention, it can slip by you. So
Yeah,
it's-
that was all Alex too.
Yeah, so it's actually Andy and his partner, and they have powers. Their fists are lighting up, or they're ready to fight. And there's 4 guys facing them, like it's like they're gonna take on all comers. And it's Shawn Michaels, it is CM Punk, it is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Okada.
Yeah, Okada.
Yeah. So it's all the back of their
Alex
heads.
really likes New Japan, so that's why it's like, can I put
Yeah.
Okada there? It's like, you sure can.
The shirt, the shirts are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, they look really good.
Um,
I was gonna put the logo on the back, but it cost like $70 more to put the logo on the back. So I was like, think we'll let that one go this time. Maybe in the future.
Yeah, and the new Mulan movie's coming out, so you know what that means. McDonald's
sauce.
McDonald's is bringing back the sauce, baby. And their teaser was a hand going through a Rick and Morty portal, dipping the sauce.
I've never had that sauce.
Neither have I.
It's actually pretty decent.
Really? I don't know. Szechuan. Like I like Szechuan Chinese food, so I probably like it.
It's a good novelty sauce if you never had it before.
Yeah.
But after that, don't.
Would you freak out like them Rick and Morty guys were over?
That was so weird that was a thing. That like blew my mind.
People are like, I want more than fucking two of them.
Just go to a grocery store and buy another one.
You know what
insane.
you know what the saddest thing about that was? Somebody actually got a car for a packet of Szechuan
someone
sauce.
traded a car. Yeah, it wasn't a nice car, but it was a car.
Or like $5,000. Like some people were like spending like buku bucks on this fucking Szechuan.
That was
sauce.
nuts.
That was insane.
Sometimes Rick and Morty fans are stupid.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
They were almost ICP level.
Yeah.
There.
Here's the
Juggalos.
Yeah.
I love Rick and Morty. I'm a big Rick and Morty fan. But it's funny that when you watch Rick and Morty,
piece of shit.
Yeah, I always say to people like, "Who do you think you are on that show?" And if you think that you're Rick or Morty,
Jerry,
you're 100% Jerry. I think a lot of the jokes in that. I think a lot of the jokes in that show, like Mr. Poopy Butthole and all that, are the reason you like the show. And then the deep dark shit, it goes over your fucking head. That's 90% of the fan base. Like, yeah. It's a fucking sad, depressing show.
I've never really watched it.
It's good.
It's sad. I love it because I'm also fucking self-loathing. And
I thought that I tried once, and I kind of, for some reason, I had it in my head that it was going to be like pretty highbrow, and I thought it was going to.
Oh no!
I don't want to say highbrow. That's not the right word. But you know how like Futurama, especially later on, kind of rode like a higher intelligence with the humor.
Yeah,
there was dumb stuff. But there was stuff in there that like, I think it easily could have missed.
I think it totes the line.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a raunchy Doctor Who.
Yeah. Like, they're literally, like, without spoiling anything, when you watch Rick and Morty, you're not actually watching Rick and Morty. You're watching Rick and Morty in a different universe, living in a completely different life. Because their life got fucked and they had to go live in a different altered universe of their life. So, like, the characters of Jerry are not even the legit Jerry from the beginning. It's still Jerry, but yet if you think deeper into it, they go in, kill themselves in a different universe, and bury them in the yard, live in that universe. Like, it's fucking weird. Like, it's such a cool show. Yeah. And then in some sad news, James Lipton, the creator of and host of Inside the Actor Studio, has passed away.
Ignorantly, I immediately thought of Lipton tea.
Yeah.
And then I had to Google him, and all I could think of was simply scrumptulescent.
Yes.
Will Ferrell. That's all I could. I mean, it's a shame, but that's all I could think of.
What is your favorite curse word?
Yeah. Oh my God, he falls back. That's so funny.
Man, James Lipton.
He was a fantastic interview.
I've never actually seen the real James Lipton. I've seen Will Ferrell.
Oh, he was pretty wild.
Best question, hands down. When you get to heaven, what's it like?
Yeah. Well, I guess he's going to tell us.
It's like looking back at the face of God and have him say, "You are my finest creation."
So what that show, if you've been under, obviously Andy doesn't know, but what he would do is he would bring in like a very
What's been off for a while though,
predominant actor, and then he would have his film students and acting students all sit in the crowd and literally just like listen to this person's upcoming story, and like it was a very inside candid interview with a lot of celebrities, but it didn't have that talk show feel where they had to go in there and plug something.
Yeah,
it was like, no man, like one of my favorite ones I listened to is Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg had a great interview on there, and he was just like, yo man, like I should have went to jail, like I was supposed to go to jail for my whole life, like I almost killed somebody, I was a fucking piece of shit, like, and my brother got me out of it, and now I'm one of the fucking most wealthy guys in Hollywood, like, and people were like, well, how did you approach this role? And he's like, I approached this role because I didn't have another choice. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was either going to be a gang.
Real.
Yeah, I was going to be either a gangbanger in fucking Boston or
and a rap artist.
Yeah. But even his rapping, his rapping at that point turned into he was trying to be a positive rapper.
Okay.
Like if you listen to the lyrics of Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, he's very positive. Like his lyrics aren't like hoes and bitches. Yeah. Like I mean, there is some sexual
I only know
connotation.
his hit, and that's it.
Yeah, but
what was the hit? Why can't I think of it?
Mama said knock you out.
No.
Oh no, that's LA Cool J.
Good vibration.
Oh yeah.
Good vibration. Yeah.
What if he was in Def Jam Vendetta?
And some of the most disputed lyrics ever right after that.
What's that?
Sweet Sensation? That's what
I don't think it is.
I don't know. I have no idea.
So what do you think it is?
I've heard like 6 different things, and I don't remember all.
Is this like the "excuse me while I kiss this guy" thing?
Yes.
Is it?
Excuse me while I kiss this
There
guy.
used to be a book at Walden Books. Was like most misread or misheard song lyrics.
Speaking of
Manfred
Jimi
Mann.
Hendrix and kissing guys, I'm wearing my Chubby Daddy shirt.
That has nothing to do with Jimi Hendrix.
He comes out to Jimi Hendrix.
Black Sabbath.
Well, he comes
Oh,
out.
does
to,
he?
Yeah,
Oh,
he comes out
okay.
to Jimi Hendrix.
I did not know that.
And he kissed the referee in the last show.
Oh, okay.
Right on-
I didn't know that either.
Right on the mouth. It was hilarious.
Oh my!
He's fucking so
Manfred Mann and his Earth Band.
funny.
Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche.
I always thought that was
Revved up like a
Revved up like a
deuce.
douche. Yeah, that's what it's.
It sounds
real
like douche
lyric.
though.
It-
I always
yeah.
thought that was what's his name? You know that guy.
You could literally
That guy.
do a whole
Yeah, no,
episode.
no.
That guy. Yeah, dude.
Play the piano.
We're coming up with more topic ideas.
Not
That's all
Rod
of-
Stewart. The other guy.
Well, and John.
Yes.
I don't want to sidebar too far off, but here's a fun one. That Ben's right. It's Manfred Mann.
And
Manfred
Earth Band.
Mann's first single. Anybody? So they did "Blinded by the Light," right? We
No
all-
way. No,
I'll give
probably
you
would get,
10
I probably would get it
seconds.
wrong.
This is actually good
No, wait.
because I didn't know this. This is actually
Blow
impressive.
your mind.
Blow your fucking ear holes.
All right, Ben, you're up.
No way.
I couldn't get him.
No, if we're gonna have awkward silence.
Do Wah Diddy. Diddy Dum Diddy Do was their
Really?
first hit.
Wow.
That's a great
So
song.
think about that. And at first, when I was like, wow, think about that. Like, what a time span. And then I really, really thought about it. I don't think it was that big of a time span. I think music just changed a lot in a short
Wow.
amount of time.
Yeah,
How about
it
that?
took a complete turn. Yeah, it changed completely. Speaking
Fun
of
fact.
Speaking of music and you, what's going on with your project?
I started to send out my invitations for my first interviews.
Nice.
Excuse me. The my approach immediately. I mean, if it doesn't go the way that I want it to, I'm just going to interview some of my peers that I'm at least acquainted with.
Mhm.
I'm not going to shoot for strangers right away. But
Smart.
right out the gate, though, I have a lot of musicians that I came up with, and because it's a show of kind of how you came up, I want to interview those people first.
Who? All right. So, I'm a firm believer. If you put something in the universe, it happens. Who are some people that you want on the show, but maybe you're a little gun shy to send out that invitation to?
I mean,
Like, who would be your like local holy grail that you would want on the show?
I don't think I have a holy grail.
Really? Or like, or like a handful.
I'd have to
of
Do you
people?
have a
think
silver
about it.
spoon?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I have when I came up with a couple of musicians locally who had some kind of fame in one way or another. They definitely got a little bit further than I did, which was
Okay.
the furthest I got was Gorilla Pack. So
Nice.
I reached out to them first.
I may have an interview coming up that you can piggyback off of with one of the famous brothers that has a little museum over here in Frankfurt.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
That would be pretty wild.
yeah. So maybe we can work something out.
That'd be sweet. But yeah, I'll have to let you know. Like I want to wait till those people get back to me, and then I'll let you know.
You should get it. You should get him, Eddie.
goes there?
Eddie Collins.
Are you having a heart
Eddie's-
attack over there, Mom?
I'm gonna do Junior
If
first.
you didn't get the reference,
I want to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
to no Junior, Eddie. I'm gonna go to Ed when I get a little more.
Well, Ed, the dad, is the junior.
Well, I mean little Eddie.
Eddie's the third.
Eddie the third.
He's the third. He's EC3.
This is EC3. Wow,
He's
how about that?
EC3.
But yeah, I have a small list at the moment. So I'm just gonna see what kind of happens there. If they get back to me, great. I'm gonna bang them out. If they don't get back to me, I'm just gonna move
The hell
on
with
to
them.
those other people with
Yeah.
that I'm acquainted with. You know what I mean? I'm gonna kind of branch out from there.
Well, listen, if you've been on our show before or you've done interviews with me and you want to come on and do an interview and tell your band story again, there's going to be a new channel coming to Interviews with Everyday People Network, our IWEP network, and it's going to be Steve's new show. So definitely get excited for that. Well, possibly 2 shows, right?
It's good. Yeah. Well, it's one show, but it would have 2 different formats.
Cool.
There would be the interview on how you came up through and who you played with and what you did and,
then-
how you got to
and
here.
then music reviews.
And reviews would be the second part. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm pumped for it. Do you have no name? Did figure out? Are you sticking with the Steve Miller band? The Steve Miller
podcast? I'm pretty sure.
I love it.
I'm pretty sure.
I love it. You should get someone like to do a spoof of the Steve Miller band, like instead of
One
the
of
horse.
the hits, yeah. Oh, that's
instead,
the picture.
Instead of the horse, it's your face.
on a unicorn.
Yeah.
No, just like a side profile of you, but all blue, and then like your beard like flowing.
That'd be beautiful.
That'd be fucking gorgeous.
Beautiful rainbow hair that I don't have.
Yeah.
I almost named it the Dreaming in Dog Years podcast, but it's the name of a song, and I didn't want it to get muddied in the Google machine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
So
Nothing wrong with that, man.
yeah.
I'm pumped. Yeah. I'm excited to have added new content to the channel, and I don't have to run it. I'm fucking pumped.
Just upload it.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Hopefully, we might have another one coming soon too. If you make like a monthly show,
Yeah. I don't know.
he wants no parts of it.
I like doing the 2 and that's it.
Yeah. With that being said, we may have someone who kind of calls in to this show, or maybe calls into Tornado Tag as a more recent guest.
Oh, okay.
Matt is kind of expressing interest in doing. Well,
Yeah.
that was wrestling name,
Yeah,
Matt
yeah,
Turner.
yeah.
But so we might have him call in and talk a little bit, like because he used to really good at comics,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're not doing the show, maybe once a month you guys can do like he calls in and we do like a whole comic talk.
Yeah.
It could be like a thing we do once a month. I know he's calling in this week, and he wants to be on the phones and we talk about Revolution.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So maybe we won't get back calling it the Power Ring, but we'll bring somehow calling it the Power Ring to us. Yeah. Because I like that show. It was good.
How about interviews with everyday celebrities?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still on the back burner.
It's interviews with celebrity people.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
sorry.
Interviews with celebrity people. Get it right.
We're really
if you're
really,
gonna bust on it, fucking come out with the right name.
we are really taking our time trying to iron out that show so it's perfect.
maybe 2025.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to 2025, maybe 2028.
It's like Avatar. You don't run a rush it.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm working up the
You'll go
liver
forever.
spots for Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
No.
It'll be a one and done show. And then the last thing here, we won't dive too much into it unless Ben really goes on for tangent. Japanese superhero Ultraman will make his way to Marvel Comics.
That's gonna be pretty
cool.
Written by Kyle Higgins. I read the article. I forget who does the art. And he was interviewed and said like it's always been one of his favorite things. He thinks there's a lot to mine there in that world. I don't know much about Ultraman. He fights the big kaiju monsters, so
Right.
I don't know. It might be good.
I mean, it'd be fun. It'd be
kind of
fun.
a very simple premise when you think about it. Like the terrors, which are the actual kaiju, and they cover the whole city. And Ultraman's like the only ray of hope that actually defeats these monsters and terrors.
And he grows real big and fights
Yeah.
monsters.
Yeah.
kind of like the whole.
with karate.
Has he ever? He fought Godzilla, right?
I'm sure there was some crossover
They
at
have
some point.
like a knockoff of like Jet
There was like
Jaguar.
Ultra 7, then 2. There's a lot of knockoffs and
Yeah.
side things.
And then there's this one called Red Man, where basically it's just a guy that just murders kaiju, and it's the same like 3 or 4 that get the shit kicked out of them.
I don't even love those shows as much as I love kaiju, to be totally honest with you. Like when I don't know what it is. Like I didn't like Power Rangers, but the monsters were
Yeah, they were cool. Yeah.
awesome. And has anyone ever watched the Aquabats show?
No.
Oh, no, I heard of the Aquabats show. I know they had
The
like Yo
monsters
Gabba
in that
Gabba.
show. No, not.
Well, I know I watched Yo Gabba Gabba. It was the same guy that actually
Yes.
created that.
Yeah, it was,
too. It was
the
pretty
lead
cool.
singer. It was all right. But the Aquabat Super Show was a story about the Aquabats, just as if they were like real superheroes.
Oh, wow.
And they have to fight kaiju. And so like, but some of the ones that they had were ridiculous. And it was definitely a homage to some of that older stuff. Like when they fought a giant ant, it was a magnified real ant. Yeah, like it was good. It wasn't bad. And the production was actually pretty decent, but I laughed a lot.
There's a wrestling thing called Kaiju Big Battle where all the
I was
wrestlers
just going to
dress
bring
up
that
like-
up.
Get out of here.
And the
Yes.
ring has a little city in it.
Oh, I would watch
Yeah,
that.
and
I'd like to wrestle.
I would
there.
watch that.
The people actually, the kaiju monsters actually like use the props and the models to beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
It's awesome, and I want to
I
go
would
to a
watch
show
this.
so
Picks up a big
bad.
building and hits a guy with his building. It's awesome.
I would
All right,
watch
so
that.
we ran a little long here on the first half of this, which is fun. We're not rushing it because it's coming naturally, and I like
It
it.
was very fluent.
Are
or fluid.
So I'll start with you, Andy.
There's a lot of languages spoke.
Have you played anything?
I beat
watched
Control.
anything?
Yeah, I that boss that was insane to beat. I watched some videos and I finally beat the boss and I beat the whole game.
Oh, what?
So the Control.
Worth playing.
Oh.
Yeah. I think it's worth playing. It's a fun game. It's a supernatural psychological thriller, just like Alan Wake, and Alan Wake is in it a lot. So that's why I
Really?
like it. Yeah,
A lot.
He's in it. Yeah, and like all the stuff, and they say Bright Falls, and so it's like it's in the same world. So it's technically a sequel.
Wow.
Even though you're a different girl, or well, your girl wasn't in Alan Wake, but like the whole thing that happened in Alan Wake happened in this world, and like the typewriter, his pages of his book, his thermos, you find all that stuff, and then like he's actually in the game then.
Wow.
So it was a fun game. So I beat that, and now I'm playing Super Lucky's Tale, and it's really good.
Yeah, you're having a blast. with
Yeah,
it.
it's like Banjo-Kazooie, and there's also Crash Bandicoot levels where you run through stuff, and there's some where you automatically run and you can only jump and attack.
Oh, nice.
Like he runs no matter what.
And you're playing that on Switch.
Yeah. I'm about 5 hours into it, and then there's like the levels where you're Crash Bandicoot, and there's side-scrolling levels, and then there's wide open levels too. It's really
Nice.
cool. It's a lot of fun, and you get different outfits and stuff. And he has that goofy puppy dog face, like and the bad guys are cats.
Are you only just the fox?
Yeah, you might unlock somebody then. and
What is the premise of the game?
that he gets trapped in this book because there's these evil cats. The cats are the bad guys.
They're always bad. guys.
And they're going to
Cats are evil.
they're doing something. He's with his sister or something, and they like do something, and it creates a portal. He gets sucked into this book. So he's in this book. And he's trying to get out of the book.
Okay. You play any video games or anything?
You mean comics?
I mean, yeah. I'm sorry. Read any comics or watch any movies?
I haven't. No, I haven't read it. I had a bunch, but I just haven't got time to read them.
Yeah.
I got this one from Kickstarter called Miskatonic High, which is about all of H.P. Lovecraft's things come to this high school. And I got all
okay.
the 6th issue just came out, and I gave more money to get all previous of them, so I got all 1 through 6 just came the other day. I didn't get to read them up. They look really good.
Nice.
Cool.
So these kids like having to deal with all the unspeakable nameless ones.
Nice.
It looks really good.
Mark?
Kickstarter is a lot of good stuff on Kickstarter.
I love Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I just missed out on. They did. Sorry, Mark. They just did Earthworm Jim comic book. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I seen it. Yeah.
I wanted it so bad, but it's not the right time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That sucks.
I give it
'cause
way
really-
too much. I'm like, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna look at it as when Mark talks. When he's done, I'll bring up all my Kickstarter stuff.
You kickstart a lot.
Yep.
Yep.
Watching. So I definitely recommend I'm Not Okay With This on Netflix.
Okay.
Loved it.
That's the show where girl gets the powers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the. It was really good. This is the genericest way I could say it. There's superpowers.
And it's the
Kid in
girl.
high
The
school.
girl from It
Also,
plays Bev.
the one who the Boy Scout guy from it too.
Okay.
Uh,
The one with the placebos.
no. I think he might have been Stan on that too. He's Stan in this show, and I think he was Stan in
Oh, okay.
It. He's also in it. Didn't recognize any of the other names, but they're definitely set up for another season.
Yeah. That
It's only 7 episodes.
Is
Oh,
gonna
wow.
fucking take over the world. Like they're just that young group of kids that are just getting put. People are like, oh, they're getting put in everything now. Yeah, let them because they're fucking doing a fantastic job.
It's 7 episodes. I don't think there's any of them are over like 23 minutes.
Oh, that's an easy watch.
So it's a quick watch. Definitely worth it. When it comes to Malifaux leagues, I'm 1-1 now.
Ooh.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on that.
Well, hey,
Who'd you lose to?
I don't know if I should say people's names.
some
or not.
jerk off.
You know who it is.
I know.
Yeah, you definitely know the guy.
Oh.
But, no, he outplayed me. It is what it is. It was a close game. He outplayed me.
Does anyone ever get heated at these games? Like, what the fuck?
Mark gets heated at my dining room table.
That's different.
Yeah.
That's different.
I do it
not
on
the
I do it
same.
on purpose.
Like, do you play like a scumbag to piss them off?
It's only sometimes.
Is there a way to play like a scumbag and like kind of play the
Oh,
system?
absolutely.
Yeah, like I'll do shit that like I know is going to irritate him, and I won't warn him that I'm going to do it, and then I'll do it, and I'll smile while I'm doing it, and I'll watch him get pissed, and I'll smile more, and he's only getting more mad.
And that's why we listen to Bruce Springsteen on the way to work all the time.
I don't like
Because
Bruce
you don't like Bruce Springsteen.
Springsteen. That's why.
It's not that far of a drive though.
It's only 3.5 miles.
Yeah.
Something I
So you got, like,
read,
a song and a half.
a collection of short stories and short mysteries by Elmore Leonard. It was all this stuff he did before he started writing the mysteries that everybody knows him for.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good. The only other thing I had was I read just the highlight of it, but it was Marky Mark talking about reading a script for Uncharted and how he compared it to reading Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uncharted
That could be interesting.
Uncharted is a fucking fantastic storyline to a video game.
Yeah.
Now, when they initially planned this movie,
Nathan Fillion.
he was supposed to be Nathan Drake, Mark
Really?
Wahlberg, yes, and Sully was going to be De Niro.
Wow.
And then it got
Wow.
scrapped, and I think they kept Mark on because he really wanted to be in the movie. So now Mark is going to play Sully, and Tom Holland is going to play Nathan Drake. So I think it's going to be like
I don't know.
I don't know about
like
that.
Tom Holland.
it's gonna be
He's too young.
it's going to be like it's not going to be like Video Game 1. It's going to be like the beginning of them kind of going on adventure. So it's going to be its own movie that wasn't based off the video games, and then it'll carry on
Like a prequel.
yeah. From what I heard, they want to make this like a franchise.
But then he'd have to stay
Yeah,
on.
I
But that's
saw
like,
Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I don't like that. Like, if you want to do that, make your own movie then. Why pay for the rights to... Well, hey, I really want to make an Uncharted movie, except I want to do absolutely nothing about what the games are.
they're going to keep the idea of Uncharted, where they are eventually going to get to looking for his grandfather's or his dad's treasure.
But so you're writing your own story. Just make your own movie and not pay the rights.
And also,
They want to keep it in that universe.
that's assuming that this movie is popular enough to get a sequel.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, PlayStation fans love it. It'll do fine.
I don't know. I mean,
Would this be the first PlayStation exclusive movie?
probably, yeah. Because only God of War and...
Tomb Raider.
No, that was on...
Well, they're open platform now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Maybe
they were on
when it
PlayStation.
was
Maybe
made,
at the time.
it was exclusive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Resident Evil? Before... when the first movies came out?
No,
I don't-
not
I don't
exclusive.
think it was
I was
just
in I was in
PlayStation.
high school when the first movies came out, and that was
It might have been on
by that
GameCube
time.
by that time.
Yeah,
Dreamcast
Yeah.
even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1999.
That sounds about right.
N60. Resident Evil 2 was on N64.
It was, then it got ported over.
Oh yeah,
after.
it wasn't good,
No.
but yes, I remember. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting to find out that if Uncharted might be the first exclusive PlayStation movie.
Like PlayStation original, you could say.
PlayStation original, yeah.
Because Uncharted never went anywhere else.
I know they were talking about maybe doing The Last of Us.
Yeah, that's a big hit. I didn't care for it.
I didn't do much for me, but is there anything else?
Yeah, that's the gist of what I got.
Cool, Ben.
Do you want to know how many things on Kickstarter I'm backing?
Okay.
Yeah.
Currently,
Do you want to guess?
or the history?
30.
Oh,
Okay, how
30
many?
things.
I would say.
Okay, I
do
can't-
currently because he
hang
stuttered.
on, hang on.
I can't really.
He stuttered.
Hang
I don't,
on.
I
It
don't wanna
puts
get-
them together. So
One
if you
time
want to do total,
I think 16.
I was gonna say 13 currently.
okay.
30. I'm going high.
I'm gonna.
Currently, I'm going to go with... Who said 13?
Now sometimes like if
14.
sometimes
Oh,
they
you're
do,
that
like,
dick on Price is
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, 14. Yeah.
right.
You.
Okay, so save total is 42. Currently 31.
Oh
Yeah.
Wow.
There is a video game. Okay, I'm gonna go down. Okay, NES game, Lady Death comic, Aurora comic, Metal Shade comic, Sword of Justice comic, Jim Power and her video game, Fire Bitch the comic, That Miskatonic High, Hell Witch comic, an Airhead comic. Betty
What
Wicked.
are the average prices that you put on?
So
for this?
some of these are only $10. The Nintendo one is like $50 because I want the complete box.
I respect that only because you're like
It's but like you can't buy this in the store.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Like, the comics eventually you can, but like a lot of like the Miskatonic High, that's not an age.
like
You're just
on Bangin'
helping
Beers.
these,
Bangin' Beers.
writers and
Jason
producers
GoFunded a project called Kegtron, and it's literally like it's an at-home keg system that it tells you a accurate reading of how many pours you have in your keg.
Oh.
Because you never know. It's like
Yeah.
you shake the keg and be like, oh, we have this much left. So he kickstarted this program, and it got to the point where like he messaged the guy like, hey, man, I kickstarted you since the beginning. And the guy was like, oh, my God, that's fucking fantastic. And he called into our show.
Really? That's
So,
awesome.
They're not big name people because they're trying to do Kickstarter, and that can lead to stuff, you know?
Yeah. So this one girl, her name is Sora, and she's doing this Aurora comic book, and I was the very first person to give to it. How about that?
Nice.
Yeah, I was waiting, and like the email's like, "Oh, it's up," and I was like, "Oh, I'll just get the $10 one."
Can you reach out to the person who created it?
Well, I have her. I'm friends with her on Facebook.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Have her call in. Tell her about
I was
her comic.
thinking about
And
that
we
to
can
have her
get-
plug this comic. She also does one called Carnal Confessions, which is like sexual stuff. But
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
Hey, no.
and she's really cool. Do you remember that Emma Frost comic that I had?
Yeah.
She did that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
That could be.
It's possible
honestly,
that she could call.
That
in.
could be a once a month thing we do as well, where like we have someone call in because, like I said,
But, like,
we really don't have guest spots that help us get stuff over.
trying to
But
get
if
some
someone can,
of her artwork.
trying to do something on Kickstarter and they're creating a comic book or a video game, have them call in to be fun.
Yeah, like this comic, like she has to create it here first before it goes anywhere else. I can't really make. Yeah, but there's the art. You can see it's kind of.
It has a very Miss Marvel look to it.
Yeah, she's like a superhero, and that's like the government has these superheroes that they have make a team, kind of like. She only had the preview book 'cause I bought it,
Yeah.
so it was only like 6 pages. But it seems really cool. So
Awesome.
I was like, yeah, I'll give to it. And $10 got you the first book, and then I paid like for a mystery envelope where you can get like a metal cover or something. That was $40, so $50 total.
Cool.
So not all the time. Like there was D&D dice, there were 12 that I got, and like the Sword of Justice comic, I think it was 10. So it's.
That's
And
fantastic.
like some of these, you could just if you just support it, it says $1. It says I believe in this project. Just put $1 towards it.
yeah, and that's the stuff that
like,
helps people.
The
make-
Lady Death one, like some people lose their fucking minds over it. There's like
Because they have
$600,
like
$700 ones, and they pledge for it, and they get all these like different ones where she's naked.
don't they
and
have
stuff.
like the metal plates and all
yeah?
that
There's like a
too?
metal cover for the comic.
Oh wow!
But
And
they
that-
do a cool thing where.
and that's a topic coming up soon, right?
Yeah,
that's your next
yeah,
topic.
because I think Brian Polito. We could probably get Brian Polito to call in.
fucking
Yeah.
amazing.
They have a thing where as long as you do one physical reward, you get all these bonus things every time they hit like a milestone. Well, for this, it's insane stuff. Like when we hit 250,000, you get this bumper sticker. You get 260,000. But what they do then is like there's 13 metal comics that will be randomly inserted to someone's like, I want a metal comic. And then there's like 13 more or something else. They always do 13
Yeah.
because. But it's cool. You can get a lot of free stuff.
And he's like, I have a topic this week. It's,
Yeah.
it's Lady Death, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Take it over. The creator of Lady Death. And we're like,
Fucking wow, yeah.
that'd be fucking awesome, man. A lot of cool ideas coming for the show, people. We're fucking brainstorming
When
for
you meet people at cons and
Yeah.
you get to know them, and it's something else. Anyway, now on to bed. The discussion of Kickstarter.
Here we go.
Okay, so
The music's queued up.
I eyed up Devil May Cry 5. I'm gonna probably play that sometime during the week. Also, the Pokemon movie remake. I want to eye that up too. I've been playing the same game, and I'm not gonna mention the name just because.
Not Onimushu.
Right.
True Warlord.
Yeah, not that game.
But I've been enjoying the hell out of that game though, which I really am. But point being, though, I'm really trying to get into some other games and what have you, and.
Don't worry about what I'm doing. You just talk.
You're hooking it the fuck up. You're hooking it the fuck up. I know, but really no other movies. Like I only saw like now they have season 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which would be the Stardust Crusaders, and there's 48 episodes on Netflix. So if you're wanting to continue
for season 2.
for season 2,
48 episodes.
48 episodes.
Get a fucking life.
But it's not. It's not like a. It's
Wow.
not like a season over a 1 year span.
Right, they
It's like
do
over
like
several years.
really long. seasons.
Japanese
As-
seasons tend
As
to be
I
long.
as
Do you know
the,
what the-
as
do you know
the
how
podcast
many-
season 2 and it started at the physical year of this year.
Do you know how
there's
many-
50 episodes in our first season? And
Do
I'm
you know
like,
how many Dragon Ball Super episodes that are there for the first season alone?
No, I
like
don't watch Dragon Ball Z.
200 and like at least 250
Jesus
plus.
Christ. What a
It's fucking
season!
nutty.
I've never got into Dragon Ball
I
Z.
never got into it either. I don't like it.
I did.
It's just charged. I know they made the GT where they edit
Do you
that
want a
all
little
out.
bit of that?
No.
It's a sour. All right.
No,
It looks like sushi and coconut on there.
it looks nice though. The
Dragon
wait till
fruit,
you try
passion-
it.
The
Dragon
beer.
fruit, passion fruit,
and almonds.
cinnamon.
Isn't that an almond? Ben
Yeah.
has a beer for those that can't see it, and the label looks like it
All
has
right, I'll give it a go.
berries, almonds, dragon
And
fruit,
that's the color of it. too.
cinnamon, an asshole.
Man juice.
What is that?
Semen. That's
Dragonberry, passion fruit,
Oh, is that passion
raspberry,
fruit?
and
That
yeah, the
amount.
passion fruit. That's an ugly fucking fruit.
It is.
Would you fuck it?
No,
Put it in the heat. Put it in the microwave.
Nope.
Take a coarse grill to it.
nope. Not passionate about passion fruit.
Anything else going on, Ben? That you want to? You can leave it here. I'm gonna take that.
some more beers coming down the pipeline that Tony's gonna fucking kill me for. I have some in his fridge for banging beers.
Yeah, like we're like, hey, let's do a gimmick episode, and we're like, okay, let's figure this out and try to get it done. And Ben's like, by the way, here's 60 more beers that you're gonna sit in your fridge for a month and a half.
God.
it's not that bad.
Way to go, Ben.
No,
Thank you.
Banging Beers has been doing fucking fantastic. Like,
It's awesome.
Like the fact that we have 3 breweries that we're going to this month alone, I'm really excited for it. And 2 of them are like pretty much brand new, opened up establishments.
And that's really neat too.
So we're not sitting here trying to go like, let's fucking try to get into these well established places.
Let's go to Yingling.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like 2 of them, like the first one,
That'd be cool,
The next
but-
episode we're doing is Harris Brewing Company, which is the first black-owned brewery in Pennsylvania,
And where's that at?
in Harrisburg.
Okay.
Supposedly not in a good neighborhood.
Oh.
That's where Andy said. He goes, "Don't be there after night."
Oh, jeez.
But I've been in neighborhoods. That doesn't bother me. I know how to handle situations. Just don't be a fucking idiot. Just
There you go.
yeah, just fucking stay to yourself and don't fucking cause issues. So, and don't go up to people and be like, you know what? I don't care you're black.
No, we're definitely not doing that. But
Don't go up to anyone.
Yeah.
but nothing really on my radar.
I'm really thinking about leaving Ben home on this episode. No, I'm joking.
I kind of wanted to go to that one.
You're
just
going. I'm joking.
I know. But well, there's Pastry Town that's going on this weekend, but
Doesn't that sound like you would go there and just eat all kinds of donuts and cakes?
It's
and
literally what
pies?
they do. They do
do,
bakery and beer.
yeah, it's like adjunct stouts
Then
and
it
like
should be called, like-
sours and all too. It's
I don't know, something Pastry Town.
and they do wrestling too.
yeah,
Really?
yeah, they do. Yeah,
It's like Pastry Town, in my mind, is only food.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know.
Of course they
if you
serve-
come to my pasta festival, there's not going to be beer there. It's going to be pasta.
Wine.
Nope.
yeah,
It's my pasta festival.
it's yours.
Nope.
Pastry
I
Town.
love how Andy gets so fucking salty over like
I love it.
Pastry Town's a big ticket. Like it's a
Really?
big ticket event.
Where's that at?
It's in New York. People
yeah,
go crazy
people
for it.
for the general admission. I'm not trying to gloat about prices, but people pay about
Why? It's not yours?
$105 like
Yeah.
Oh my
for
God,
general
jeez.
admission.
Wow.
Then
But
they
if
put,
you
they
get
put a ring in this building, and literally everyone stands like 3. It's one of those things where people can bang on the ring.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
There's not much barrier between the ring and the people.
Yeah.
They cram them in there. Tony Deppen wrestled at
Yeah.
it, and the match ended with him getting tombstones
Cake-faced.
into a cake.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And like a lot of they pull a lot of great breweries from all across the country then too, and whoever they collaborate it with. So it really helps out not only not only other half, which is who's holding it, but every other brewery that's around the States. So pretty cool. I'm not going to it. Maybe I'll go next year. It's just meh. Could have got general admission.
Little pipe dream.
What a statement. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. JD from Howard Stern.
Maybe next year.
Well, whatever. I don't know. Whatever. I'm fucking whatever, Howard.
Another brewery contacted us, and we're pretty much all set for next month. Bonsai.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to Bonsai.
Where's that?
Awesome.
At? No.
Higgins.
Higgins.
Oh, really? Wow. How about that?
I need to get a Yokozuna shirt for that episode.
Yeah.
Bonsai.
He's like, I hate this fucking guy.
The one brother's a Wagner, and I know Andy Wagner.
So how this came about is we tried the first time and it didn't really go anywhere. And then they made a post saying like, hey, we're going to make beers. What do you guys think we should make? And I was like, whatever you make, you should do it on our podcast, Bangin' Beers Podcast. And the guy goes, 100%. And then like 2 guys added me, and I just sent them a message like, let's work a date out. Well,
Awesome.
they messaged me like, let's work something out. So we got him in for next month.
Awesome.
Bonsai, and then hidden stories. So these guys always like our content, and every time I take pictures of stuff,
I wonder why.
it's their sticker like always on our posts. So they don't have their own brewery, so that's something that we go to their place where they brew and then they can it and put it out other places. So some of these places we're going aren't places you can go and sit down and have a beer and have a meal.
Right.
They're like still like
They just make it
in
like,
the early
in their
process.
garage.
Coming
basically,
yet, yeah.
And then Liquid Noise that we're going to, that's a
good name.
that's a place. It's all rock themed, and they have bands and stuff. Like,
Yeah, they're
okay.
cool
they're,
guys.
They're trying to do music and beer, and
They go well together.
they just opened up their brand new building, so they're brand new.
And then last year we got to actually sample their beer at the Retro Lovely Ball.
Made a great lager.
Yeah, that was great. I really liked the gin the gin and tonic.
Yeah, it was a gin and tonic beer.
Gin and tonic goza. And I was like, I came back from a Hudson Valley run. I gave those guys some beers then too. I'm like, hey, try some beer. And I got, and they were cool.
Very nice guys.
Yeah, they were very nice indeed. So,
all right, Steve, what do you got? I didn't have to use the playoff music.
Nope. Scumbag.
So Ben didn't do too much. Well, new stuff.
Just only Mushu Warriors. I have not really done anything, to be totally honest with you. I'm in
that same boat.
I was prepping for Malifaux. I am still just 1-0 like I was last time on the show.
Who'd you beat?
A gentleman he drove from Lancaster, I believe.
Oh,
To take that beating.
It was a very close game.
You're like, here's my goblins,
Actually,
bitch.
he really wanted it. And it's funny because he hasn't played in quite some time, and he kind of even warned me of that. And so I got a little overconfident in my head. I was like, oh, this guy hasn't played in like 7 months. I'm gonna destroy him. And then
Gonna kiss his mother.
It was like a 6-5 victory for me, so it was pretty close. I know where I made errors. I didn't really try to deny him any points. I kind of left him open to do what he wanted to do,
Yeah.
and he was hungry enough to get 5.
Do you guys have a someone in the tournament that you're like, man, they're probably the guy to beat this year? Is that established yet?
Yeah, that guy's in my pool right now. I have to play him coming up. We have 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, to wrap up the first round.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in getting my next game in.
I still have 2 opponents to go. And one game I feel pretty confident about, and then the other game I don't feel so confident about. So we'll just see. I'll keep you guys posted as always. Outside of that, I didn't watch anything. But the past 5 days, I read a lot of Calvin and Hobbes, and I also watched Dear Mr. Watterson for about the 40th time in my life. I've watched that documentary a million times, but to prep for the podcast, I watched it 2 more times.
Yeah.
Just
So you're up to 42.
about that.
Good
about
math,
that.
Ben.
Good job.
Howard man.
Killed it.
But that's about all. That was about it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I mean, I don't want to call it. I joke around because football season, when you do 3 days or 4 days, you call it Hell Week or Hell Month. So I'm kind of in that mode still podcasting, where since January I really haven't had a day to myself to really figure anything out, which is not a problem I'm upset by. I like the fact that I'm busy and it keeps me having fun. So I really haven't had time to really do anything. This Saturday I was going to do pretty much nothing. But then we got contacted by GSW, and they're like, hey, you should come and do stuff at the show. And I was like, well, 100% we're there.
Right. How can you say no?
So I really didn't get a chance to do anything. And then when I finally sat down, because Monday I actually got to watch Raw normally. And then Sunday I did an interview, and I was like, oh, I have the whole day to myself. So I'm going to go on Netflix. I'm going to finally watch something. And I just watched the same fucking show I watched 100 times. Not 100.
The Office?
No, I'm starting in from episode 1 again. I really love F is for Family.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you guys...
I don't.
So
I tried it, but
It's that animated one that...
just take it over.
Sorry. It's an animated one. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
By your comedian.
No, let's hear Ben's description,
All right, go
and
ahead.
then you describe it, and
All right.
let's see the difference.
All right.
Okay. All right. So it's an animated comic by Bill Burr, and it's about his home life and how his family was way back when he was a kid.
Okay.
Don't think it's his home life.
I think
Well-
I saved it to my to watch stuff,
Yeah.
but I never watched it.
I'll cut myself short.
I don't know if it's
I'm used to it.
I don't know if it's his
You don't
home
need to
life.
play any music.
I don't know if it's his home life, but it really takes place of a poor white Irish dad household.
Middle class.
80s, right? Like 70s, 80s.
80s.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because they got their first color television. The best way I can describe it, it's an animated rated R version of Married with Children.
Okay.
But instead of the wife kind of being like, I hate my husband, I'm just using him for his money, she tries to pull her own weight, and then she's like, I don't know, it's typical life situations where the kids are kind of assholes, but each character kind of gets their own due in the show. It's really, really funny. But Bill Burr does the voice of the dad. The rest of the cast I do not know, but it's a really, really funny show. If you're a fan of Bill Burr and his style of comedy, you'll love the show because a lot of it carries over. Like the kids, he'll come home from work and he'll be like, the dad like, he's like, yo, you gonna pass your school? He's like, I'm trying. He's like, oh, I'm gonna come home. He never hits his kids, but he just threatens the fuck out of them. Like, I'll fucking put you through that wall. Like, he never ever raises his hands or beats his kids, but there's a lot of threats. But it's a really, really funny show. But the best way I can describe it is if you're a fan of Married with Children, it's along those lines.
Yeah.
Just like your typical inside look of a family.
Slightly trashy, white.
Yeah, it's like a white trash family.
Lower middle class.
Not all white people are rich and having great lives. Like,
Yeah.
we're working 9 to
And
5
living
jobs and fucking
pristine
hating.
houses.
Yeah. Their house is nice. I mean, they
Yeah.
get by. Like, so people look at like, oh, you have that privilege. But like, no, he goes to a fucking dead end piece of shit job and tries to get by, and his kids fucking suck, and he just hates his life, and it's not everything he planned out to be, but he does what he has to do as a man to get his job done.
Like a man.
Like a man.
a man.
And he works as a baggage claimer at an airport.
Baggage claimer.
And it's terrible.
That's got to be a rough job.
It's terrible. Yeah.
Terrible.
It's terrible.
I was hoping Ben kept doing that. The echo there.
But yeah, it's a good show. Check it out. And then I watched also the Dear Mr. Watterson
Yeah.
documentary.
As did I twice. I want to say, I'll mention it slightly in the podcast, but to anyone that's about to listen to what we do here, I highly recommend that. I think it's really well done. And some of the commentary over the insight of Mr. Watterson is... Because it's a lot of his peers, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
a lot of the people in the documentary are fellow strip writers.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Very popular ones, too.
Real super popular ones. What I found in my research was either his peers respect him or absolutely hate him.
Wow.
Because he was kind of pompous. Depending on how you look at it. I don't feel that way, but
He's the Howard Stern of comic books, where he's just like, hey, if you're just as popular and big as Garfield, let's make fucking toys. Let's do movies. Let's like I don't want to dive into it, but there has been major directors who came to him and said, we want to make a Calvin and Hobbes movie. He's like, suck my dick.
pretty much.
I wonder why it would be like that. I'd be like,
We'll get into
let's
it.
make that money.
Yeah.
Shall that be our segue?
Sure.
Are you ready? Oh, snack time?
Let's push the snacks off to the end, and if we don't get the snacks done on the show, we'll eat them, and then we'll do like a review on Facebook.
Word.
All right, because we are about an hour and 16 minutes in, and
There you go, yeah.
and this topic is pretty good.
All right.
All right,
I
From
was
the hip, Steve. Go
super
for
excited
it.
for this. So, I'm going to start with Bill Watterson. I'm going to move into Calvin and Hobbes. That's my plan.
I know
need
nothing
anything
about
to
him.
Nothing at all.
Same here.
Nothing.
I'm a huge Calvin and Hobbes fan.
Have you read it, Andy?
No. Here and there in the paper.
Wow.
So I don't really know. I know the kid, and I know the.
So you don't have favorite strips? You don't have...
Nope.
Oh, this is going to be
Nope,
awesome.
nothing.
What is your favorite strip?
I don't know the sister's name. I'm assuming it's the sister.
No, there's no sister.
That's his-
Susie,
that's-
Susie Durkins is
Susie's
his
like the
love
girl.
interest.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Love
that he
interest, but
hates.
he loves and hates. Like
He's
kinda,
6.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So what his flirting is pulling her hair and throwing stuff at her and hitting her with
He hits
rocks.
her with snowballs all the time.
And he's throwing a water balloon on this cover. But I was like, is that a giant blueberry? I'm like, oh, it's a water balloon.
Yeah. My favorites, I have 2.
Okay.
I was going to save that for the end.
Okay.
I'll totally get into
Can
it.
I tell you my favorite?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so I don't know the
Absolutely.
name. I don't know the name of the strip.
Yeah.
But my favorite is when he's just. I don't even think Hobbes is in it. It's just Calvin, and Calvin. It shows. So a lot of the comics are drawn and narrated by Calvin, but it's his imagination. And I think that's why I really, really like Calvin and Hobbes, because it could be anything. Like, so it's
That's
just
a big reoccurring theme is the imagination.
Yeah, so it's him
Yeah.
and it's a family in a car, and it's just like the narration bubbles are like, here's the Johnson family driving down the road, and they're going to their family vacation at this location, and he's driving and he goes, and all of a sudden the brakes blow out, and they're swerving, and they're going, and then and they fly out the cliff, and he's like, and they're dead, and he's like, and it just shows him on the couch, like on the floor, and he was playing with the car on the couch, and the car's now on the floor, and he's like, but then the other family is driving down the same road. Like, it's just him killing people in his imagination.
It's so
Like,
awesome.
there's a
I think that's a Sunday strip, isn't it?
I
Yeah.
remember that one too. In a way.
that was one of my favorite ones because it just shows like this kid's kind of dark, but he's funny. and it reminds me of a Weezer song. My Name is Jonas. When I don't think there's any correlation to Calvin and Hobbes and My Name is Jonas, but My Name is Jonas. When I hear that song, it reminds me of Calvin and Hobbes because the whole theory of My Name is Jonas, it's a little boy playing with his toys, and it's like looking from the inside of his boy, like choo choo and change left right on time. The ticket costs only your mind, and that just reminds me of like just that innocence of being a kid and having your imagination and just sitting in a room and it's okay to be that way. I love it. Like that's what I really enjoy about Calvin and Hobbes. Before we start, you want to give the dynamic of the Calvin and Hobbes situation?
After I do Bill Watterson,
All right, go ahead,
I'm all set up for it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Shoot from the
I'm
hip.
pumped. I'm so excited.
Shoot from the hip.
So, can you mind if I move this a little bit?
No, go ahead.
It's cramping my shit.
Yeah, we'll do this.
It's the first time I cursed this episode. Actually.
That sound like
I think it's the first time we all cursed. Way to fucking break the barrier.
All right. So William Boyd Watterson was born July 5th, 1958. He was born in D.C., and the family moved in 1965 when he was just 6 years old. Coincidentally, Calvin is also 6 years old. He doesn't age in the comic. They moved to Chagrin Falls, Ohio, so his mother could be a little bit closer to the family. She wanted to raise her children in a small town environment, not Washington, D.C. He drew his first cartoon at the age of 8, and then he spent much of his childhood in his school years drawing. And he eventually discovered Pogo, Crazy Cat, and Peanuts, we all know. And I don't know if anybody knows Pogo or Crazy Cat, but they were beautifully drawn. The comics in the 30s and 20s and 40s were much different. They were like, Pogo would get an entire page of the newspaper.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Or like Little Nemo would get an entire page.
Yeah.
And those are big inspirations for him. So that was kind of what once he discovered that, he decided.
Nemo was actually turned into a video game and then a TV, an animated.
Master. I don't have that game.
Where it was a little kid in his imagination. Every time he goes to sleep, he goes into a different world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tropes in Little Nemo that actually carry over to Calvin and Hobbes. Like a lot of stuff, like he just said, in the end, where the cars wreck off the cliff, at the end it's Calvin sitting on the sofa. That's how Nemo was, and it pretty much believed that Watterson drew a lot of his inspiration from that, because at the end of Nemo, everything crazy shit happens, stuff's coming, the bed comes to life and grows legs and is running away, and in the end he wakes up in the bed, and that's so. But Pogo, Crazy Cat, Peanuts were massive influences to him, and that's what made him decide he wanted to be a cartoonist. From 1976 to 1980, he attended Kenyon College, which is like Central Ohio. Graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. Imagine where that degree would get you in this day and age.
Yeah.
He was pretty much setting himself up to be a political cartoonist.
Okay.
So like those single drawings that are trying to get all the words in one shot.
Get a job, Playboy, then.
So fun fact, Spaceman Spiff, which we'll get to, it's one of the characters for Calvin. One of his alter egos.
I think I've seen pictures, but yeah.
Fun fact, with Spaceman Spiff cartoons first appeared in his college newspaper.
Oh, wow.
So, the name Calvin is from Protestant reformer John Calvin. Hobbes was a social philosopher, and I'll get into that a little bit more in a second. People believe that the names were a nod to the Kenyon College political department, which was kind of what the college was known for. So in the complete Calvin and Hobbes, he quotes... But Bill Watterson quotes, Calvin is named for a 16th century theologian who believed in predestination, and Hobbes for a 17th century philosopher with a dim view on the human nature. And that was kind of the base for the characters. Early work, he tried his hand at political cartoons, kind of what he set himself up to do. In 1980, he got a job at the Cincinnati Post. That was... My microphone died.
Did it?
Yeah.
I still hear you.
I can still
there I am. Okay, sorry. 1980, he got a job at the Cincinnati Post. It was a competing paper for the Inquirer, so it was kind of a big deal. He grew up in Cleveland, which is nowhere near Cincinnati, and he attended college in Central Ohio, so he really knew nothing about the politics of Cincinnati, and didn't do well in his job. He was fired before his contract was up.
Oh, poor guy. But hey, get a contract back there in that day.
Sure. Calvin and Hobbes now. So that's my brief Watterson. Calvin and Hobbes ran from November 18th, 1985 till December 31st, 1995.
10 years.
Wow.
At its height, it was featured in over 2,400 newspapers worldwide at a time.
Yeah.
In 2010, reruns appeared in papers in more than 50 countries, and nearly 45 million copies of the books have been sold worldwide. His hatred for his after he got fired from there, he took an advertising job from 1980 to 1984. His hatred and loathing for the job, he started drawing strips on the side, and he was just trying to sell them to syndicates constantly. He had almost no success. He drew a strip called Doghouse, and he had a little bit of a breakthrough with United Feature Syndicate. They said there was a character in it. It was a little brother with a stuffed tiger. That they were like, you should just write about the little brother. Forget everyone else in the strip.
Yeah.
Focus on little brother, and we'll pick it up. So he wrote a strip. They did not pick it up.
Oh.
And then he went and shopped it to the very next place, Universal Press Syndicate, and that is who he worked with till the day it stopped running.
Wow.
So the first year in popularity, in the first year, the popularity grew very quickly, and it was running in over 250 papers almost straight away. Fun fact, within the first 3 weeks, all of the major characters were introduced, and there were no changes to the central cast in over the next 10 years. That's kind of intense when you think about it.
Yeah,
as far as
pretty
from a
wild.
writing period, or from a writing point. There's a few things that I'm going to kind of go over again and again. There was a constant battle for licensing, and that's kind of what Anthony was talking about. He went on a sabbatical from May of 91 till February of 92. In this time, this is unheard of for a writer of a syndicated daily strip to say, I'm taking a break.
Yeah.
Because what do you do? So, interestingly enough, Universal Feature Syndicate or Universal Press Syndicate told the editors of all the newspapers that you are going to continue to run reruns of the strip at normal price. And almost everyone, I think 14 papers, killed it. Like, cut off their contract with them. The rest of them ran it because they were afraid that other people were going to pick it up and they wouldn't be able to run it then. You know what I mean?
At this time, I could be wrong, but isn't this the time where he was putting stuff out there and he would submit a page? And
No, that's after the second sabbatical.
Okay.
So then in 91, the way that his contract worked with Universal Press Syndicate was they actually, like any serious company at that time, they had rights to do whatever they wanted to do. Bill Watterson was very adamant about not licensing the stuff. He didn't want pajamas or a cartoon show or underwear or stuffed animals of Hobbes. He didn't want any of that. He just wanted books and the strip. So they actually respected his wishes on that. And it's said that they could have done it at any time because it was in the contract that they were able to, but they worked with him. They never did it to him. In 91, he renegotiated his contract, and he had full creative control with the 91 negotiation. So when this happened, something really important in the comic happened. He introduced his new Sunday layout, and I kind of want to show this to you guys. I'm really sorry to the listeners at home who are not going to get the full effect of this. So here we have a Sunday strip. All right,
It's long.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. What papers would typically do is if the editor didn't appreciate the size of it, they could cut this top line, and they would cut this top line. So what he would do is he would put throwaway jokes in the top line. It didn't really matter to the rest of the story. It would just be like an extra haha.
Yeah.
That's like pre-91, pre his negotiation. What he did then is when he renegotiated, it's kind of amazing. He did things like this,
Oh, wow.
where they couldn't break up his comic.
Yeah. Jeez. I've never seen that.
Kind of like a continuation of a story.
Yes. And then he started making demands like, well, I need a half page. He would make it fit so it wouldn't... They couldn't compress it. They couldn't break it down and put it on a quarter page or a tiny little panel. So it's kind of genius, stuff like this.
Oh, wow.
I think that's
panels within panels,
Yeah.
so you couldn't move it around on them.
Yep.
It was kind of genius.
Where it would be a square panel, and then he would have a triangle panel in the middle.
Right.
God.
Or a
And
circle
then
in the
it would
bottom.
be a circle.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it would look like Picasso in a comic book on a Sunday strip, because they would. And another thing to do is they would also shrink your page to the point where the color didn't match the image, and then your comic like fucking garbage.
Yeah. Right.
And he would be like, "What the fuck am I writing this for? If you're just gonna butcher it, like if you don't take this seriously."
He's
it goes-
very clever in that sense.
He was really adamant about the art of the comic strip, because it's kind of, for whatever reason, people kind of treat it as like lowbrow humor. It's just a comic strip.
Yeah.
And when you see it, and it's this stupid little 4-panel comic that's, you know what I mean, it's this big, it is kind of whatever.
Yeah.
How does it hold a match to even a comic book? You know what I mean? But he's going back to a time with Pogo and Crazy Cat, and he wanted to bring that back to the artist. He wanted the artist to have the power again in the newspaper.
Here's the thing too, like his competition at this point in time is Peanuts,
Right.
Garfield,
Right.
Beetle Bailey, Archie,
Haggard,
Haggard,
And like random Phantom was probably in there.
Phantom. I mean,
Prince Valiant.
Some sad
the
Spider-Man.
comic book, the Sunday
Circus.
strips. Like I remember when you would buy a newspaper, it would literally just have that divider. As soon as you pulled it out, it was the headline, the divider, and it went right to the comic book strip.
Yeah.
Because that was a big deal.
It was important, especially for the Sunday paper.
Yeah,
yeah.
And now try to find it in your newspaper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
it's buried.
Right.
Yeah.
In ads for whatever. So that him with that cock swinging kind of attitude, a lot of his peers, he kind of called out Schultz and the guy who did Garfield.
Jim Davis.
Jim Davis, thank you. He kind of called those guys out, like, because people were trying to get him to do whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm not going to sell MetLife insurance with Calvin and Hobbes.
He wanted to stay true to what he was, and that was a comic book creator. He's like, you guys don't even take your fucking comic book seriously because you're making money on your fucking animation and your MetLife and your toys, and I'm still staying true to who we are, is what we started at doing this, and that's being a fucking comic book writer.
He was all about the art.
Yeah,
So he was
I'd
really a
make that money.
purist.
That's what I would have did.
They say that it's impossible to know how much was lost.
Yeah.
But they speculate 300, 400 million
That's something.
lost.
That's crazy.
I honestly, I can say I would even put him higher, man, because like you have to think about it. We had in our topic of what are the most what made the
Top
most
grossing
money,
franchises.
and like Winnie the Pooh and Garfield are extremely high up that list, and so is like Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Like Calvin and Hobbes. Obviously, Peanuts was good, but Calvin and Hobbes has a different take to things, and
For sure.
it could have been $1 billion franchise.
Probably in time. You know what I mean? Because another fun fact: Jim Henson, George Lucas, and Steven Spielberg all admitted to trying to personally call Bill Watterson. He never returned any of those 3
Wow.
phone calls.
Wow. Could you imagine like Jim Henson making like
Sure,
an
man.
actual that would fit the format 100%.
I think they all kind of
Wow.
wanted their hands on a cartoon version of it.
Yeah.
But he never even returned the phone calls.
even a fucking puppet version of that.
There's-
That would still be pretty wild.
If you think about it, like if you get into that kind of thing, let's just take Lucas, for example. I'll use Spielberg. So you agree to something with Spielberg. Well, he's going to turn it over to his executives, his directors and his producers. And so now you have 7 guys. I'm talking from Watterson's point of view.
Yeah.
Now you have to get these 7 guys to think they know what you're doing better than you do, to agree with what you want to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all the while, I think another big part of it, aside from trying to keep the art pure, was that he had total control. He drew it, he inked it, he watercolored it, he framed it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was all him.
Yeah.
it's definitely
Always.
a different style, especially.
I don't think he ever wanted anybody else's hands on it. I think he was trying to keep it as pure as he could.
You know why he only drew comics? Because with a set of fucking balls as big as he had, he couldn't get out of the fucking door. That's all he could do.
Well, in the end, they say,
Hi,
like,
this is George Lucas. Ignore that call.
suck it.
Suck my dick, George Lucas.
Nope.
I have here. Sorry, Ben. I know you're probably feeling a little burned right now.
I am no.
There was he went on a second sabbatical. When he came back from the second sabbatical, he said, "I'm done." It was a lot of pressure. He had a lot of emotional distress and a lot of pressure from all that merchandising that they wanted to do. They wanted to license the stuff. It was nonstop. That was the entire time he was going. Somebody else wanted to make money off what he was doing. When he came back from the second sabbatical, I have the dates, but that was also pretty long. It was like 7 months or something. When he came back, he said, at the end of the year, I'm done. Here's the letter that he wrote. It was November 9th, 1995. Letter to the editors. Dear reader, I will be stopping Calvin and Hobbes at the end of the year. This was not a recent or an easy decision, and I leave with some sadness. My interests have shifted, however, and I believe I've done what I can do within the constraints of daily deadlines and small panels. I'm eager to work at a more thoughtful pace with fewer artistic compromises. I've not yet decided on future projects, but my relationship with Universal Press Syndicate will continue. That not so many newspapers would carry Calvin and Hobbes as an honor, I'll be long proud of, and I've greatly appreciated your support and indulgence over the last decade. Drawing this comic strip has been a privilege and a pleasure, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity. Sincerely, Bill Watterson. Last strip was published December 31st, 1995.
Wow.
So...
Very anticlimactic finish, but it was a good comic.
Short, sweet.
The end is I love the end.
Yeah.
Do you have it here?
I don't. It might be in the.
Well,
Is it in that one that says anthology or whatnot? That big tall one.
I know how it goes. That's not it. So a little bit about the comic itself. You have Calvin, who is a 6-year-old with a insane imagination. Hobbes is his stuffed tiger. They're best friends, and it's. I don't know if you had like a best friend stuffed animal, it kind of it just speaks to that. Like I always think of my daughter and Lammy. Like it's not too different than that, you know. When you're 6, that stuffed animal could be close to real. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of the thing. I guess a constant question was people were like, "Oh, is Hobbes real or isn't he real?"
Yeah,
I mean, he's real to Calvin, like you know, and
he wouldn't answer it.
Right, and he would not answer it. And I think that's another thing. If you made a stuffed Calvin, or a stuffed Hobbes, rather, like stuffed animal, well, then you know he's not real. Whereas the strip is kind of...
subjective.
Because the first comic strip, it's not like his dad or his mom gave him a stuffed Hobbes. The first comic strip is, he's like, his dad goes, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm going to catch a tiger."
With a tuna fish sandwich.
Tigers can't resist the taste of tuna fish, and his dad goes, "Okay," and then he comes home with a tiger and no one asks a question. So then you're like, does he have a fucking tiger now? Like,
right.
But then some panels, Calvin's in the same room with him and his mom, and he's a toy.
Hobbes is just a lifeless stuffed animal.
So it's kind of like 90% it's going to be a kid and his toy.
Calvin, Hobbes, the parents, who are not named, they're just mother and father. The mother stays at home for a living, and she's a homemaker, and the father is a patent attorney, which is kind of hilarious. That's what Bill Watterson's dad actually did. Susie Durkins is, like we said, she's kind of the love interest, but in a 6-year-old kind of way. I read during my adventures here that Susie is kind of loosely based off of his wife, actually. I don't know. He's not a personal guy, so I don't know how long him and his wife go back, but they were married most of the time that this has all happened. So, secondary characters, we have Rosalind, the babysitter. Wonderful dynamic, seriously. Mrs. Wormwood is his main second grade teacher. Again, an amazing dynamic. And then there's Mo, who is a really important secondary character, and he's the school bully. Popular alter egos for Calvin. We have Spaceman Spiff, Tracer Bullet, which is kind of like a L.A. noir kind of. Oh my! Some of those are so good. And Stupendous Man. And I tried to look back. I could have sworn that he was called the Crimson Bolt at one point. And I tried to go back and find it, and I couldn't. So I don't know.
He's also a big fan of being dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs and elephants. He likes to be an elephant, too. Well, there's a lot of recurring stuff. Dinosaurs, elephants. Cardboard boxes are really huge in Calvin and Hobbes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's that joke where you buy your kid all these toys for Christmas and they'll play in the box.
Play in the box, right. Play the box that came in. Some other reoccurring themes that are really important and come up often is he creates a club with Hobbes called Gross. It's girls get rid, it's an acronym, get rid of smelly, and then the S in girls. is gross.
Give her a smelly ass.
Calvin ball, which is a sport that they play, him and Hobbes play often. The only rule to Calvin ball is that there is no reoccurring rule. So the game just changes constantly. It's pretty awesome. Another heavy reoccurring theme is the snowmen. I personally love the snowmen because some of it's really dark.
Yeah.
Like Calvin, his dad will go outside and like look in his face is like just utter shock as Calvin made 2 snowmen and the one is scooping snow out of another one's like lifeless body and he's making snow cones with it. It's funny.
I relate so heavily to Calvin. as a kid, I was a fucking weirdo.
And then really big recurring themes also is the wagon and the sled, and they're used in kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Where Calvin will be talking to Hobbes about some really deep life shit in a 9-panel Sunday strip as they're going down a hill. Wagon or sled, doesn't matter. But they're having this conversation. And like usually second or third to last panel, they're like flying off a cliff asking that final question. That happens pretty frequently. It's usually super entertaining. 18 books in the end that were totally published.
Wow.
Of all the strips, with the exception of there's a strip from November 28th, 1985. I have it here pulled up on the computer to share with you guys. Again, I won't kill the reader at home or the listener at home with that, but I did have it queued up for you guys.
Send the file and I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. It's kind of obvious why it was omitted. It's funny because November 28th, 1985, the comic started November 18th, so it was probably in its second week, third week. But yeah, so hopefully the viewers will get to see that. And that is pretty much the gist of what I have. Calvin and Hobbes, to me, it's super important. I think we all feel a little bit like Calvin when you're reading it. If you grew up in the 80s, I don't know how kids could relate now, if they can relate now, because the times are a lot different. The world is different.
It'd be interesting because I feel like kids lose that imagination much earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're kind of forced to not be kids anymore. They're kind of like grow up, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they get thrown they get thrown right into the world right away.
Right.
And we're kids to that, like, for me growing up and being someone who was picked on, bullied, never feel like I fit in, I didn't have so much to say of Hobbes, but I can definitely see how Calvin as a kid was like, man, like, I don't understand the world, and he would just talk to himself and help himself deal with problems.
There's a lot of social commentary in the comic book. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it's definitely there. Watterson projecting how he feels about the world in the 80s, it's in the comic strip. It's important. It's there a lot.
Did you ever read the fan ending?
No, I don't want to. I know kind of what happens. He's on his deathbed.
Actually, I was going to read it real quick here.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so there's no art to it, so this is just what the panels would say. It says, Calvin, sweetheart. In the darkness, Calvin heard the sound of Susie, his wife, a wife of 15 years. Calvin struggled to open his eyes. God, he was so tired. It took so much strength. Slowly, light replaced the darkness, and soon vision followed. At the foot of his bed stood his wife. Calvin wet his dry lips and spoke hoarsely. Did you find him? Yes, dear, Susie said, smiling sadly. He was in the attic. I'm getting chills reading it. It's so fucking... So Susie reached into her purse and brought out a soft old orange tiger doll. Calvin could not help but laugh. It had been so long, too long. I washed him for you, Susie said, her voice crackling a little as she laid the stuffed tiger next to her husband. Thank you, Susie, Calvin said. A few moments passed as Calvin laid on his hospital bed, his head turned from side to side, staring at the old toy with nostalgia. Dear Calvin, finally said, would you mind leaving me alone with Hobbes for our dear, Calvin said, would you mind leaving me alone with Hobbes for a while? I'd like to catch up with him. All right, Susie said. I'll get something to eat at the cafeteria. I'll be back soon. Susie kissed her husband on the forehead and turned to leave. Suddenly, but gentle strength, Calvin stopped her, loving, and pulled his wife in and gave her a passionate kiss on the lips. I love you, he said. I love you too, said Susie. Susie turned and left. Calvin saw tears streaming from her face as she went out the door. Calvin then turned to his oldest dear friend and said, hello, Hobbes. It's been a long time. It has an old pal. Hobbes was no longer a stuffed doll, but a big, furry old tiger. Calvin's always remembered. Sure has, Calvin, said Hobbes. You haven't changed a bit, Calvin smiled. A lot has changed, Hobbes said sadly. Calvin laughed and said, really? I haven't noticed at all. There was a long pause. The sound of the clock ticking seconds rang through the sterile hospital room. So you're married? You married Susie Durkins? Hobbes finally said, smiling. I knew you always liked her. Shut up, Calvin said, and his smile grew even bigger. Tell me everything I miss. I'd love to hear what you've been up to, Hobbes said excitedly. Calvin also told him he knew how Susie and him fell in love in high school, and he had married her graduating college and had 3 kids and 4 grandkids, and how he turned into Spaceman Spiff once. How he turned Spaceman Spiff into one of the most popular sci-fi novels of the decade, and so on. He also told Hobbes there was another pregnant. Paused. Visited the attic a bunch of times. Calvin said, "I know. I couldn't see you. All I saw was a stuffed animal." Calvin's voice was breaking in tears of regret welling up in his eyes. "You grew old, buddy," said Hobbes. I'm so sorry I broke my promise. I promised I would not grow up. I promised we'd be together forever." Calvin broke down and sobbed, hugging his best friend. Hobbes stroked Calvin's hair, or a little what was left of it, and said, "But you didn't. You know what you mean? We're always together in our dreams." You were? Hobbes. "Yeah, old buddy? I'm so glad I got to see you one last time." "Me too, Calvin. Me too." "Sweetheart." Susie's voice came from outside the door. "Yes, dear," Calvin replied. "Can I come in?" Susie asked. "Just a minute." Calvin turned to face Hobbes one last time and said, "Goodbye, Hobbes. Thank you for everything." "No, thank you, Calvin," Hobbes said. Calvin turned back to the door and said, "You can come in now." Susie came in and said, "Look who's come to visit you." Calvin's children and grandchildren followed through the room. They followed Susie into the room. The youngest grandchildren ran past them and hugged Calvin and had an exciting hug and said, "Grandpa," screamed the children in delight. Frances, cried Calvin's daughter, "be gentle with your grandfather." Calvin's daughter turned to her and said, "Dad, I'm sorry. Francis never seemed to behave these days. He just runs around making a mess and coming up with strange stories." Calvin laughed and said, "Well, now, that just sounds like me when I was his age." Calvin and his family chatted some time until the nurse said, "I'm sorry, but visiting hours are almost up." Calvin's beloved family said goodbye and promised to visit tomorrow. As they turned to leave, Calvin said, "Francis, come here for a second." Francis came up to his grandfather's side and said, "What is it, Gramps?" Calvin reached over to the stuffed tiger on his bedside and held him out shakingly to his grandson, who looked exactly like he did so many years ago. "This is Hobbes. He was my best friend when I was your age, and I want you to have him." "He's a stuffed tiger," Francis said with his eyebrows raised. Calvin laughed and goes, "Let me tell you a secret." And Francis leaned closer to Calvin, and Calvin whispered, "If you catch him in a tiger trap using a tuna fish sandwich as bait, he will turn into a real tiger." Francis gasped with delight and awe. Calvin continued, "Not only will he be your best friend forever, not only that, but he will be your best friend forever." "Wow, thanks, Grandpa," Francis said, hugging his grandpa tightly again. "Francis, we need to go now," Calvin's daughter called. "Okay," Francis shouted back. "Take good care of him," Calvin said. "I will," Francis said before running off with the rest of the family. Calvin laid on his back and stared at the ceiling. The time was getting so close. He can feel his soul. Calvin tried to remember a quote he read in a book once. It said something about death being the next great adventure or something like that. His eyelids grew heavy and his breath began slowing. As he went deeper into his final sleep, he heard Hobbes, as he was right next to him in his bedside, said, I'll take care of him, Calvin." Calvin took his next step forward, the adventure, and with his breath, he last grin on his face. So, it was a fan ending story where Calvin got older and then gave his grandson his childhood best friend.
I don't know. If I was going to write an ending of something I liked, I wouldn't kill my main character.
Yeah, but it was something
Fucking Andy.
that was a
That's
fan.
me.
you.
Yeah,
Hey,
only
how
you,
does Spider-Man
Andy.
end? He fucking dies.
But I
And he's
guess,
old because he has cancer.
But I guess that childhood innocence left him, and it was just, instead of being a tough tiger, it was just a toy in his attic.
Well, how did the real comic end?
It just him, and Calvin never aged, so they just went on a sleigh riding adventure, and he pretty much just one of those, like he said.
They
okay.
went down the hill one last time, and Hobbes said, "What are we going to do?" I feel like such a fool because I'm forgetting the quote.
It's something like, we're going to go on we'll always be on adventures or something like that together.
something
We'll be
that
friends forever. Yeah.
That's much better ending.
Yeah.
I don't like
Well, that was a fan ending.
Fuck that fan. Call him up.
I like it because it's one of those things where, as I don't have children, but our grandchildren obviously,
Oh
but
my God,
but
Andy.
kind of passing that nostalgia of your youth to someone else can be so pivotal.
I don't like when the main person dies. I don't like that at all.
Well, nobody fucking does, Andy. But
But if
shit
you
happens.
can
Time
control
happens.
the universe,
Yeah.
you don't make it sad.
It's sad, but I thought it was a very satisfying fan ending.
Who gives a shit about Francis? Where's Francis's comic?
And it'll never happen.
Depicted in the last comic, Calvin and Hobbes outside in freshly fallen snow, reveling in the wonder and excitement of the winter scene. It's a magical world, Hobbes, old buddy. Let's go exploring.
Yeah, see, that's a nice.
That's
yeah,
how it ends.
keep going.
Is he still alive, Watterson?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
a good question. Yeah.
Yep.
How
Still
old is he
alive.
now? What was
He was
he
born in 58.
58.
Oh, I see.
Nice
up there.
58, 68, 78, 88, 98.
Do the Howard
2008, 18.
He's got to
So
be
he's 62.
his
He's
60s.
he's
Oh, so
retirement.
he's not too old.
He's
And-
retirement age.
And he
he
still
said
doesn't-
he'll never come back to it.
Wow, what did he do
Wow.
after he was done?
He does watercolors and stuff.
Oh, okay. So he didn't just do nothing.
No, well, I mean, no one knows. No,
Yeah.
like no one.
Wow,
the
he's
dude's
very-
super secretive.
How about that? That's weird, ain't
It's
it?
kind of like Bob Ross's son. He actually took up some painting, and then like when his dad died, he was like, he really hated the agent or the lady that actually was taking all of his all of his stuff, Bob Ross's stuff, and like really cashing in on it, and like he was just really like distraught about it.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
he did use a lot of his local town that he lived in. Like when Calvin's like a monster ripping through a town and tearing buildings up, it was actually a sketch of his.
I got something for that.
Yeah,
Really, I'm going to touch on that in 1 second. There was this quote that I saw, and while I have it up, it's from Bill Watterson. It's surprising how hard we'll work when the work is done for just ourselves. That's Bill Watterson, 1990, speaking to his alma mater graduating.
I could relate.
It's funny.
As someone who fucking does for it.
He had said that the whole time he was doing it for himself and he wasn't doing it
Yeah.
for anyone else. And some people argue that he was probably doing it for the fans a little bit, but obviously not to the fullest extent because
he didn't give you what you wanted as merchandising.
right.
Because all of his fans wanted it. He did donate all of his comics when he was done to something in Ohio. Like
It's a cartoon museum.
Okay.
He donated all the work.
Wow.
even his originals.
Yes, all the originals. He
Yeah.
kept all the originals the whole time he did the strip, and then he donated them all there. So you can go, and it's like the situation's kind of weird because you can't take them home.
Yeah.
So you sit down at a table, you request what ones you want, you put on white gloves, and they'll bring them out to you, and you
Oh,
can
how
hold
about
them.
that?
Yeah,
That's
cool.
I would
In-
love to
wow.
in
go.
plastic.
I'd be so
sheets.
afraid of it.
Well, that's what the guy was like. Oh my god.
Yeah.
They're all in like plastic.
Oh, okay. Then they have
So
protection.
I have here. This is what Tony was just talking about on the back of the first book. This is a lot of people believed it was his hometown of Chagrin Falls.
Yeah.
Now where we're at in the world with drones and all that, this is pretty funny. So here's a picture
Right there.
of
Yeah.
Chagrin Falls.
How about that?
This would be, you can kind of see it, but there would be the bell tower that's right here. Would be right here looking out at the bandstand, which is also right there. Calvin is actually eating the very infamous popcorn stand. It's a candy stand, which is right here. But there, you can see the tower in that picture. there.
Yeah.
I know it's hard, and again,
That's cool. Yeah,
but-
for if you're just listening, but the town that he drew in the back of it does look like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
a
really
lot
neat.
of people would, when they say like, "Oh, Calvin went on adventures," and it was all woodland and snow.
Chagrin Falls is very much.
Yeah, it was 100%.
Wow.
Now, I did read that his parents were big fans of the strip, and they said that Bill was nothing like Calvin at all.
No,
Oh, wow.
they were almost polar opposites.
Yeah.
he actually lived vicariously through Calvin.
Pretty
yeah.
much, yes.
So how did the bill feel when the Calvin pissing on racing numbers thing came out?
I had a beautiful quote for that too.
Because that was so big, and
he
there was
hate-
Calvin pissing on everything.
I believe he hated it first, but then he did say something like, you know, if my legacy is Calvin peeing on something, then I'm glad people still remember the character or something
Yeah.
similar to that.
I was almost gonna ask about that then too. Yeah.
I had a shirt that it was Calvin flushing himself down the toilet. I mean, I'm sure it was made bootleg, but I never had one.
No, 100%.
It had to have been bootleg.
I mean, you can go on Amazon right now and buy a stuffed Hobbes toy.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's being sold on Amazon, but you can buy it.
Oh.
Like they will sell you a stuffed Hobbes toy.
Man.
And then there's a
They probably
There's a compilation book for $90.
Yeah.
It's a leather brown. I
Oh,
don't know if
nice,
it's leather,
like-
but
like
it's
a
a brown.
omnibus,
It's a
yeah.
brown thing, and it has like 4 or 5 volumes in it, and it's all every comic.
It's library bound. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to
Wow.
actually get it. Actually, that's it right there.
Oh, geez, that's huge. Oh,
Yeah.
it looks like there's 4 books, and they have that. What's the book?
Like a
holder?
slip.
Yeah, it's slip. Yeah,
Yeah.
slipcase. They're nice. I have like 2 for comic omnibuses, but
Yeah, they're just fucking amazing work. Is anyone else at the table? Were you guys ever Calvin and Hobbes fans?
I actually grabbed quite a few of the books. I have them in storage somewhere, but I always really liked the art of Calvin and Hobbes, especially when he always used to go on his on his imaginary like adventures.
One more
Which-
here if you want to.
Which especially makes it like that much cooler how much of an artist really Bill Watterson really was. Like he went from simple to complex,
Yep.
like thick lines, thin lines, like a lot of this stuff really popped out, and I think that's what I really liked about it. I mean, as a kid, like I didn't get really like the dark humor of it up until now, but point being, no, it's actually really cool just
Like
to
this
see
one
that.
here. This one here is literally it's God, and he's talking about the universe and everything that's going on. And then his parents are in the next room, like, "What the fuck is he doing in there?" And just Calvin playing with his toys.
that's a big.
He won an award
Big
for how accurate they believe his drawings were of dinosaurs. Like
Really?
for what they believe dinosaurs were. Yeah,
Oh,
he won an
wow.
award for.
Oh wow!
That was the other thing. He also never showed up to any of those awards.
Never.
He won
Wow.
tons, dozens.
He's like Howard Stern. He literally is.
Yeah.
Except he's almost to the level of Chick Tracks, but people knew that who he was
Yeah.
and what he looked like. But he didn't do interviews. To this day, he still won't do an interview.
weird.
His family won't really do interviews. But yeah, he was just so just in. It was his thing, and he didn't want anyone else to touch it or be involved in it. There was another cool thing too when you're a kid and you're at the dinner table and you're stuck and you don't want to fucking get up and your parents are like, you're not moving until you eat your food. He would in his imagination have fights with food monsters where he'd poke the food and it would turn into a giant monster and it'd be like a 5-page comic of him fighting the food and his parents are just yelling at him and in his mind he's just holding a fork of mashed potatoes but in his mind it's this giant fucking monster taking up the whole room. Didn't he have? He thought of his teachers as monsters, and sometimes
They were aliens. Yeah, that was
yeah.
a lot of the Spaceman Spiff stuff. Was him going to school and
Well,
dealing with
this
Mrs.
is actually
Wormwood.
this is actually a real popular one where they use a lot of these faces, and it was just like that's our son. With picture remind us of more, just them looking through photos of Calvin and him just never taking life seriously.
I want to share with you guys my 2 absolute favorites.
Sure.
The first one is drawn in a super realistic, like think. Again, I'm kind of catering to the listeners. Think Prince Valiant or
yeah.
like
It's
the
very
Phantom.
comic booky, yeah.
Yes.
Not
So,
cartoony. Look at that.
The top panel is a woman. She says, "Darling, I'm home and I brought a surprise." And the second panel, it's a man going, "Let's hope it's a divorce."
And that's a 6-year-old kid.
Oh, that's awesome.
She goes, "Darling, I stopped at the hospital on the way home from work. Don't call me darling, okay?" He's lighting up a pipe.
Very gritty looking he is.
"I brought home our new baby." "A baby? I don't want a baby." And she's in the next panel, she's holding a little bunny. "What shall we name him?" "Our baby's a rabbit. How could we have a rabbit?" "He's not a rabbit. He's a little boy. We'll call him Jeffrey, okay?" "He looks like a rabbit to me." "Well, it's just to pretend he's a baby." "No, this is idiotic. I refuse." And then in the last panel, it's actually Calvin and Susie. "Playing house makes me sick. I'm leaving. I don't see why you'll pretend with your dumb old tiger, but now with Mr. Bun."
Mr. Bun.
Actually,
Let me take a look at
Mr.
that.
Bun.
I love
Let me get a picture. I actually found my comic here.
I love the "Darling, I'm home and I brought a surprise. Let's hope it's a divorce."
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's hope it's a divorce.
So I found the one I was talking about. Here's the successful Mr. Jones as he leaves his 5-acre home in a wealthy suburb, and here is his new Mercedes in the driveway. It's anyone's guess as how much longer Mr. Jones can meet his monthly finance charges. Here comes Jones out of his attractive suburban home as he hops in his red sports car. Off he goes, 80, 90, 100 miles an hour.
The whole time Calvin's on the sofa, by
Yeah,
the way.
along the edge of the Grand Canyon. Suddenly, steering locks, brakes fail. His career's over. The edge. Oh no, down he goes. His only hope was to climb out the sunroof and jump. Maybe, just maybe, he can grab a branch and save himself. As he unwinds the sunroof, can he make it? No! The car explodes in midair, propelling millions of tiny shards into the stratosphere. Kablooey! And it's just him sitting in the cars laying on the floor. His neighbors hear the boom echoes across the canyon as they pile into the minivan to investigate what will happen to them.
It's awesome.
I always love that one. That's one of my favorites.
Yes, I'm very super familiar with it.
Oh my god.
Another one of my favorites is called Christmas Eve. It's a Sunday strip. It's one panel. My birthday's Christmas Eve, so this one means even more to me. It's super special. And I'll read it quickly. Christmas Eve. On window panes, the icy frost leaves feathered patterns criss and crossed. But in our house, the Christmas tree is decorated festively, with tiny dots of colored light that cozy up this winter night. Christmas songs, familiar, slow, play softly on the radio. Pops and hisses from the fire whistle with the bells and choir. My tiger is now fast asleep, on his back and dreaming deep. When the fire makes him hot, he turns to warm whatever's not. Propped against him on the rug, I give my friend a gentle hug. Tomorrow's what I'm waiting for, but I can wait a little more.
Oh, that's wholesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, they're
From
just
dark to wholesome and nothing flat.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Gotta
that's-
love it. Gotta love that.
That's kind of how it went. There's I just saw another one too that Tony had open up there. In the beginning of this book, it's called a Noxious Nocturne, and it wasn't in the strip. It's a poem that he illustrated, and it's about a child being afraid to go to sleep at night for whatever monster might get him. The poem is so dark. It's hilarious, but it's very dark.
and he actually wrote a song in a panel that some
Yukon Ho.
Yukon Ho that some bands actually play and perform. And then what are some of the comics from the that are actually inspired heavily by Calvin, where the guy gets a lot of shit? They're like, "Oh, you're just a Calvin and Hobbes ripoff."
Yeah, well, it's because it looks just like Calvin.
And the artist is like, "Yeah, 100%. The guy's my fucking hero. Like, of course I'm going to emulate my hero. Like, that's where you know."
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah, they're such good books. Like, if you're not a Calvin and Hobbes fan, definitely check it out. One of the in the documentary, Dear Mr. Watterson, you can actually watch it for free on Vudu. It'll play some commercials here or there, but you can watch it on there. And I forget the other.
Are you talking about where to watch Dear Mr. Watterson?
Yes.
I just watched it on Prime.
It's on Prime as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
there you go.
If you don't have Prime, though, it is free on Vudu. You could download the Vudu app. And also on... There's another free app that you could watch it on, too. Shout out to Jack from Murder My Dude, because he heard we were doing this topic. He actually sent me some stuff. Sorry, I'm just going to find it real quick here.
There's a special kind of child that I think reading's super important. I met Calvin and Hobbes at the Scholastic Book Fair.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that's where
exactly,
I met these guys. My cousins, I have a cousin that's 1 year older than me, and his little brother is 2 years younger than me. They were very much into it too, and we're all so close in age. It was really important to all of us. There's a certain type of child. Again, I think reading's important. There's a certain type of child that might not like to read.
Yeah.
And so you have to find something that child might read. I think the Calvin and Hobbes, 8 times out of 10 is going to be that ace in the hole. That demographic of child that doesn't want to read but should read, it might just be the material that will get them interested in something.
Because this is the type of... Calvin is the type of kid that...
He don't like reading.
That a lot of us could relate to, or say that we were kind of maybe that kid at one point in time, and dealing with bullies and that girl that you may have liked, but you pulled her hair and treated her like shit.
Right.
And maybe you didn't have a stuffed tiger, but like for me, I didn't have a stuffed toy because I was so immersed with Ninja Turtles and video games and pro wrestling. I didn't have that imaginary toy that our friend. But I can definitely relate to what he did with Hobbes, So when you feel like you're alone sometimes, like you just turn to that toy. And I think a lot of kids can relate to Calvin. I think he's a very relatable character. And in the documentary, they said, if you can go into comic books or comic strips right now, and there's not another influential character since Calvin and Hobbes.
For real, yeah.
I would say there has to be something.
Nate,
Dilbert. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big Sunday comic
I would say
fan,
Calvin's bigger than
I mean,
Dilbert.
that's really putting it over. I mean, to say there's not been one since. Come on, it's 95. That's what, 25 years.
As a Sunday strip,
I'm sure there's something.
I don't know. It'd be very hard to think of that one.
I think it's hard to be a household name because no one reads the paper anymore.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
It kind of becomes.
I think
irrelevant.
Dilbert might be your last of a dying breed as well.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably something.
What about Mutts? Anyone ever read
But
Mutts?
Mutts
I
has
like
been out
Mutts.
Mutts has been out for a long time though.
Yeah.
Mutts has been out for a while.
Mutts was
Oh.
part of this Calvin and Hobbes thing. They were in the '90s. Mutts.
Mhm.
That was a heavy hitting time of Sunday strips.
Yeah.
They
Really heavy.
They
hitting
really
time.
rolled hard in the.
You know what I used to read when
books.
the paper
Little
being
comic strips.
study hall? I'm like, I'll read the comic section. That's probably
Yeah, I mean,
read it.
as I was a kid who his parent. First off, I couldn't find a comic book stand near me to buy weekly issues of a
Yeah.
comic book, and the Sunday comics to me didn't matter if I didn't know what happened the week before. I could read it at that point in time and still get something out of it.
Yeah.
because they were very clever writing where it wasn't a continuing. It was a continuing story, but you can pick it up at any point in time.
Most were just kind of like Seinfeld, where they just existed in that.
Yeah.
like Phantom
And then
continued, but
now-
like who the hell's going to remember week to week when?
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, shows like Cheers and shows like The Office and shows like Friends, where you can just watch it per episode and just take it for what it is for that 30 minutes.
yeah.
If you did read it from the beginning, obviously you're going to have a different take on it, but it's something that you don't need to watch. And I think that style of TV doesn't really exist anymore. There's continuity
We're
to
all
every.
binge watching.
Yeah, it's a different. I don't know. It's really cool. I'm a huge fan of it.
different dynamic with television shows in general. Really,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
people want to see the shit right off the bat, and they
the-
want to be waiting every day.
The other place that you can find Dear Mr. Watson is on Tubi. It's a free app that you can download
never
and
heard of
watch some channels.
Oh.
What it'll do though is
Little
it
thing
will
to put the card in.
yeah, I
That's
love
pretty
it. Actually, when I went to meet Haley Stokes and she went to give me my commission drawing that I got from her, she was at the Origsburg Library and they're like, oh, we're selling books. And I went over and I found like a stack of like 3 or 4 Calvin and Hobbes books and I paid $1 each for them.
Wow, yeah.
So I was like, yeah,
Awesome.
I'm taking these. So that's where I got some of this collection. But this book right here with no cover, it's completely there's coffee stains on it. There's just all this gook. The pages are fucking destroyed. The cover's ripped off it. This is the 10th anniversary book. So your parents send you to the Scholastics and they give you a couple bucks and you can leave with a book. In 1995 or 96, I went to the Scholastic thing and I got this book, and this has been a book that literally has went with me through a house fire, went through like 3 or 4 house moves. You know, when I moved out of my house and moved here and lived here, this book just always came with me. So this is something I've had since probably 95, 96 that I just won't ever. I would never. There's not many things that I've had since my childhood that still stay with me, and this book is definitely one of them. When you actually look at the pages, though, where the comics are, it's great shape. Just the front 2 fucking pages
just
are
the
destroyed.
cover,
Yeah, just fucking destroyed.
You know, when I hear something like that, it's very sentimental, and it's just like with me, I just kept all my shit.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
realistically,
I lost
like,
a lot of my shit in a fire.
But I'm just but I'm
Yeah.
just saying though, like I'm like, man, like I still have my shit, but nothing like
Yeah.
dramatic. I mean, I don't wish that to be terrible, you know, in the worst way, but
Look at this one.
Oh, yeah, where he's chewing gum.
That's funny.
It's awesome.
Now, in realistic times, he's probably had just a little bit of gum over his lips,
Yeah.
but in his mind, his whole head is taken up by the piece of gum. Like it's just so much like people are like, I don't understand this,
Yeah.
but like go into the mind of a child.
And
You have to-
he writes and draws. I don't know if all violent people did
yeah,
that.
100% is him. The drawing and the
Yeah.
the inking, the drawing,
I'm
everything.
sure there
is
was
one.
comics where the guy only wrote or only drew. You know.
Yeah, the whole Calvin. I believe the entire process of Calvin Hobbes, coloring, drawing, the whole thing was completely Bill. I don't think he let many people in.
No, he didn't let anybody in. It was 100% him the whole time. This book, I just want to say, I don't own this one. This is Tony's 10th anniversary book. I had no idea, but it is an actual commentary of pretty much everything we discussed, but in Bill
wow.
Watterson's words.
Yeah.
So that would be, I mean, I'd be super excited to read that.
That book you can get on Amazon right now, I believe, for $14.
Nice.
I think it still blows my mind then too, especially when he actually gave the commentary then too after, like with these collection books, like especially with a collection book like this. like my whole thing is like I know he just only strictly went with just these books, and I take it that he still continued to work with that.
He worked with the education department a little bit, in doing educational books as well.
Yeah,
but those are holy grails because they weren't really produced.
Yeah,
but outside of that, no, you're right. That's kind of all there is. The books.
I think what I'm really trying to get at is like with the market, like the marketing overall, like no stuffed toys, no toys and all that, but he still continued to actually have these books published. You know, I mean, people want to read the comic strips. You know what I mean? And like you said, he's just more of like that purist that you don't really get to see anymore.
I respect it.
So would you own that out of respect for Bill?
Maybe not that one. I've seen better ones, to be honest.
So this one here is called the Adatoy plush tiger toy. Tall striped sitting stuffed tiger. So pretty much they don't say it's Calvin, and that's how they get away with it.
Or Hobbes.
Or Hobbes, sorry. Yeah,
it does sit up, which is interesting. Hobbes is always sitting up.
Yep. So it's a Hobbes toy for $22.
I mean, I like it, but I think I've seen others that look more like Hobbes, and that's kind of weird because it's a cartoon. But
yeah, awesome topic.
Yeah, loved it.
I think what we're gonna do here is we're gonna end the episode. And then we're gonna film again the snacks. So we're gonna do it in completely its own thing, and then we'll upload that to Facebook.
Yeah,
sound good?
Separate video, absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna end out here. That's the topic. Next week will be Howard Stern. You will not see Mark or Steve next week,
regretfully.
And then they will be back in 2 weeks, and then that week will be Andy doing
is
Lady
that
Death.
Okay.
Yeah, does that sound good?
Yeah, that's fine.
So 2 weeks.
Yeah,
cool.
I'll have to sharpen up on my Howard Stern.
Oh,
I thought you didn't know anything.
No, I kind of know very little.
Matt,
very little.
I think we're all going to dive into it because I think that's something that me, Matt, and maybe even Jason may join us. But that's a topic that I've been listening to Howard Stern since I'm fucking 11 years old. Yeah. I've been just obsessed with Howard Stern. Is there ever a topic that you want to dive into?
Yeah, I'm tossing things around in the head.
Yeah,
I'll get there.
Awesome. I'm pumped, man. I love when you said that you were doing Bill Wall. So here's the thing: as a huge Calvin Haas man, I not like a huge, but like this has been Calvin Haas my whole life. Mm-hmm. I didn't know other books existed. Like,
right.
And I never knew. Like, look that's what I've always seen. Like,
right.
I never read the whole thing. I would just read through. I would just open it, see a strip, and read it.
Right.
So when you were like, "Oh, it's Bill Watterson," I was like, "The guy who sings "Use Me Up," like Bill Waters,
Bill Withers,
Bill Withers, yeah." But I never really dove into what Bill Watterson was about or who he was. So it was really cool to like watch that documentary and learn more and how answer those questions of why when I was a kid I couldn't have a Calvin toy. And,
right. So I wonder what if you had a piece of original art, what that would be worth then. Like a commission.
Tens of thousands, they estimate.
There's not many out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Tens of thousands.
Like if he drew one for, like, let's say his neighborhood friend or something.
There was one library that has a piece of original art, and I think that's one of the only ones around, besides the ones he all donated back to the library, which no one's allowed to resell or make money off of.
What a crazy guy.
Right.
It's hard to say. Like, I love this podcast, and I do it because I get to hang out with friends and learn and put content out. But to like, if someone just walks up to you and says, "I will give you X amount of dollars to own the rights to what you created," I can see where he's coming from. Because like, I've been poor before, but do I want to sell my integrity? So
it's about integrity.
Yeah, and there's not many people that would do that. They would completely sell away all their rights to just make a buck.
Sure.
And then that company turns and takes your idea and makes billions, and then you're sitting here as a poor guy who just started something, and then its end product is no longer what you love, like Angry Birds.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
you can't pretend the guy didn't have money though. He renegotiated his contract twice. So
no, he got paid. I looked up his net worth.
All right.
His net worth is in the hundreds of millions.
Yeah,
he's not a billionaire though. He
could have been more,
right?
But I think
he's well off.
He's taken care of. He doesn't have to get a
he's well off.
job. Yeah.
I think
he ain't working at Walmart pushing carts.
He negotiated his contract and made his money, but he made sure that his money stayed to him and his family and not to other people.
Right.
It seemed like it was more of like an honest take of like what his creation was.
Yeah, because
I think that's what people, at least just talking about it overall, that's probably the best way to go.
we
about it.
live in a society now where somebody creates something and their whole idea
They're looking to sell it.
is to sell it.
Right.
Like, I put all this creative effort into something and I want to sell it and make a quick buck.
But he could have stayed on as a executive producer and stuff like that. It's not like it was either sell it and then never touch it again.
The guy at the Syndicate had even said that there was a point where they were discussing, like, let's fire him and continue the strip.
Oh, wow.
Because he was so unwilling to compromise with
I don't
them.
think the fans would have stayed.
And they said flat out, like, eventually they sat down and they're like, it ain't going to do anything without him. Like, we can't... We can't recreate this, right?
Yeah,
we could try to recreate it, and it might work, but chances are it's not going to.
Five guys doing it, then maybe it'd be all right.
Maybe.
Do you think there will be a day where maybe he passes away and it goes to his family and like somebody in his family, like, okay, you can make a movie, or do
Not
you think
at this point.
Do you think they'll stay true to his dad?
Well, it depends what the
Now when the family's
kids.
sitting on $100 million,
Yeah.
they don't need it.
Yeah.
I mean, not at this point. I think that I don't know.
A part of me, listen, 100% of me respects his decision, and I love that he did it. But then there's a part of me of like, man, it would be awesome in a movie. But then then you look back and you're like, man, Garfield was in 2 movies and they were dog shit.
So much of Garfield is dog shit.
The Garfield cartoon was great.
The 80s cartoon was great.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Christmas special, fantastic. Have you watched Garfield now?
No, I didn't. No.
yeah.
I didn't know there was one now.
You don't exactly.
Because it's not truly to what Garfield
How about
was.
the Bill Murray movie?
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Awful.
Yeah.
and they made 2 of those.
Alvin and Chipmunks.
Does
No.
does
Ugh.
does the
I never liked
peanuts
them to
even
begin
matter?
with.
Like, let's all be honest with each other. Does the peanuts even mean anything to anyone at this table outside of the Christmas special?
Yeah, probably not. My mom likes
and the
it,
Great
but-
Pumpkin.
My mom did. My
Okay,
mom
I'll
likes
give
it
you
too.
Great Pumpkin. I'll give you Great Pumpkin. But outside of that,
Yeah,
you think so?
absolutely.
How many people do you think look at Peanuts and say, I remember this comic strip?
No, they probably.
Can
they
you
probably
pick-
say
very,
Christmas
very
special.
few.
Can you
Yeah.
pick out your favorite Peanut comic strip? And 9 times out of 10, it's no. You remember it more of its animation. Would that be?
I would 100% agree
Yeah,
with that.
I agree.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I
No,
mean,
you
like
brought-
just
It's a decision. Yeah, it's my book.
just
one is
with
that
just
one?
with different.
The first collection. It's this book and Something Under the Bed is Drooling combined.
Something under the bed is drooling.
Oh, yours is in great shape.
Thank you.
I want to go and try to find them all.
He keeps it in the vault.
I do, actually, on the back of
there's
my
Calvin.
toilet.
There's Calvin Ball.
I can't even not laugh. It's so great.
Yeah, that's where he's talking about the monsters under his bed.
That's probably Something Under the Bed is Drooling.
Yep. So many good stuff, man. Like, here's one where it's just a frog the whole time, and then it's Calvin to stop fucking around with your milk and drink it, and it's just him going, put his cheeks full of milk. There's Space Cadet.
Spaceman stuff.
Space, yeah.
UFO.
There's
and
your oatmeal.
And he comes across this green goop, and then the green goop starts attacking him, and it's him playing with his food in the cafeteria.
But that's why that's what you really like about that. Like just really spinning it out of control, and then
Yeah.
so simple.
All right, this was a longer one.
Yeah.
2 hours again. I mean, not really. That's pretty much what we average. All right,
Fuck it.
we'll guys
It's
see you
good.
next week. Here's some Look Alive. Go check out our snacks over on Facebook.